What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of the Primetime Sports Podcast, hosted by Joey Malari. So today is a special episode. I got my boy, the sports guru, Mike Hurley, coming on today to give his NFL season predictions. He'll be breaking down where he thinks each quarterback will perform this year in rankings. I will be doing the same, so we'll be ranking NFL starting quarterbacks 1 through 32. We'll also give some backups that we potentially think could perform well as well. And we'll also break down the NFC and AFC divisions and talk where we think each team will place in each division. So it'll be a great episode. Hope you guys enjoy it. So here we are back on the sports guru, Mike Hurley, live on air. Mike, how we doing, kid?
Here we go. This is good. We've been waiting for this episode. Prep for the season.
The sports guru, Mike Hurley. This kid knows sports all around, whether it's hockey, baseball, basketball, football. Whenever I need a big sports take, whenever I need an opinion on a game, a player, fantasy, who to draft, you go to this guy, Mike Hurley. So it's going to be a big episode.
Cinderella team for the NCAA.
Or Roberts, baby. This kid knows his stuff. And that's why I say I go to him always. So when we're talking quarterbacks here, even though we're going to differ on who he thinks top 5, top 10, top 20, whatever it may be, at the end of the day, I respect his opinion, he respects mine. And I know, at the end of the day, it's going to play out the way it's going to play out in the NFL season. But the beauty of it is that right now, season hasn't started, so no one's right now. So we'll see how
everyone's pretty healthy. You get to make a projection.
But that's the thing. The reason why doing this right now is the best is because the season hasn't started. So obviously, it's no right or wrong right now. And that's why it's a great conversation. By week 8, everyone knows who's going to be the MVP. Just about it's in the conversation. But right now, no one knows. So who knows who's going to be the next quarterback to break out this year? And hopefully, we give you guys some insight into that. And we're definitely going to have some arguments. So looking forward to seeing who you got in your top 5, top 10, and all that. So start off, we're going to break down 1 through 5, 6 through 10. 11 through 20, and then 21 through 32, and then we'll talk backups that we think could potentially break out. So, you got anything to say before we begin?
You want me to give my first 5?
You can start out, yeah. You can start out 1 through 5. Go ahead, I got you.
All right, obvious number 1, Tom Brady.
Okay.
We got Josh Allen.
All right.
Joe Burrow. I got Justin Herbert, then Pat Mahomes at 5.
Wow, okay. You got Mahomes at 5, kid. I thought he was going to be maybe 3, even though I know you're not the biggest fan. I know
we'll get into at some point, either this episode or next, how the teams are going to be doing. And I don't think Mahomes is winning the division. So, it's a reason to dock him a couple points. He just lost Tyreek Hill. He's going to regress. No more easy gimme 75-yard bombs to the cheetah.
Okay, I get that. I think he could still be top 3 in most views. A 5 is respectable. I honestly thought he could have been 10 on yours. I know because you're not a big fan of him. So he could have been 10.
People say he might have regressed last year compared to
he struggled
years before. Teams have figured him out.
He struggled.
The game plan against him. He's got to evolve a little bit.
It was like week 8 through like 12 last year. He was brutal. Week 6 through 10 or something. It was like a 4-week stretch, a 5-game stretch that he was really struggling. I know you're not the biggest fan of him, so having a 5, honestly, I'm surprised a little bit to a degree. I know you're not.
You think that's high for me?
I thought you might have had him like 7, just because I know you're not the biggest fan of him, just to spite him a little bit. But I respect that though.
I mean, I respect what he's done in the league since he's got in.
You think he's a little?
He makes some errant throws.
You don't like the baby goat talk. You don't like the baby goat talk. I know you said he turns the ball over, but you don't like the baby goat talk. Is there a baby goat? Does the baby goat exist? McVay or Mahomes?
No, there's no such thing.
The baby goat. They say Belichick, Brady, McVay, Mahomes.
You might be listening to a little
BB and MM.
Smith.
Stephen A?
Too much Stephen A.
Hey, I know Felger and Maz, your boys aren't big fans of him, but Eminem, Mahomes, McVay, baby, that could be the new baby goat. That's what ESPN was saying for a couple of years, though. They were always saying, is McVay the baby goat? Which I don't know if there's a baby goat. I don't know if that's a real thing. If you're the goat, you're the goat.
They were talking more about McVay's retirement than they were about him being the greatest.
A couple of years ago, though, when he was, just starting out in the league 3 or 4 years ago now, and he's breaking out, and they were
losing
really
the
good.
Super Bowl to the Pats, yeah.
What was it, 4 years ago was his first season? But yeah, I know you're not the biggest fan of McVay either, so it makes sense. Anyways, so you got number 1, Brady, 2, Josh Allen, 3, Joe Burrow, 4, Herbert.
I got Burrow, Herbert, and then Mahomes. Herbert's probably, that's the stretch pick.
Okay, I got Herbert a little bit lower, which only because, I don't know, I think the Chargers will be good this year, but that division's just stacked. And at the end of the day, I mean, you really can't go wrong with who you're picking in that division, where you're going to rank those quarterbacks. All 4 of them very good quarterbacks. It's going to be a stacked division this year.
It's a high-powered defense, too, so he doesn't have to face his own defense.
Yeah.
So that helps.
He's coming off a good year, too.
They've got good receivers, and he's got a cannon.
Mm-hmm.
Plus, they retooled the offensive line a little bit, put some draft picks to that. So,
Khalil Mack, J.C. Jackson.
Yep. They should be. I mean, it should be a good team. Should be the best team that he's played on yet, right?
Mm-hmm, so, definitely. And he had a good year last year. Going into year 3 now, was the 6th pick in 2020. 5,000 passing yards.
For, mid-30s and touchdowns probably.
38 touchdowns, 15 picks last year. I think he'll probably get around there again, 35 touchdowns. I think they'll probably run the ball just like they did last year too. And considering the fact that, him and Eckler had such a great, connection, they'll probably run that a lot too this year. And he'll probably have a lot of touchdowns in the red zone to him because that's how really last year worked. They were
if anything, his coach held him back from a few wins, right? They went for it on 4th down every time.
Yeah, they got really screwed over.
Way too many times they, gave up games when they could have easily either punted and played for time or just made a better coaching decision.
Definitely.
Always going for it.
Sometimes it's the analytics, though, that tell you to go for it, but I know what you mean.
They update these analytics when they go 0 for 4 on 4th downs in a game. Like, if it's not working, you got to cut bait with it sometimes.
I get that. I think I like analytics, looking at the numbers, and I know we talked about this already, box scores and all that, but I like looking at the numbers, seeing where players, especially in baseball, what their batting averages over the past couple weeks, what their batting averages against left-handed pitches, starting left-handed pitches. But I think at the end of the day, you always got to go based on your gut reaction. You have a feel in the game that analytics can't tell you. If you're on the field right now, the team has the momentum and it's 4th and 2, and they already stopped you on a fourth down conversion. You don't go for it. Even if analytics say, last time you went for it in this position, 4th and 1, you got it. I think you got to go based off gut reaction. So I agree with you. Maybe going on 4th every single time like they did was not the way to go.
They say situational football. Like, the situation is unique in each different game. You got different matchups. A guy might be banged up, the weather, whatever it may be. Maybe he's just off that day. He hasn't been hitting his throws. He doesn't have confidence.
Could be banged up.
That's what I'm saying. So if you're looking at just the averages, maybe they've got a 55% chance to convert the 4th down, so it's worth it in general to go for it. But in a given situation, sometimes maybe it's a long 5 yards that he's not going to pick it up.
I get that. So I like your reasoning there. That does make sense. I'm with you there. I agree with that. And I like, honestly, your order, even though, obviously, we're going to have a different order, and that's the beauty of this. As I said, the season hasn't started, so this is why this conversation is great.
What's the big shock in my top 5?
That's the thing, though. I was surprised Mahomes was your 5th. I thought maybe Rodgers. I know you're not a big Rodgers guy either. I thought Rodgers might have been in there, just to have him in there.
And I'm certainly not a Rodgers guy this year.
But I guess my biggest surprise is the Burrow at 3.
That one, I think...
Which I like. I have Burrow in my top 5, too. I have Burrow in my top 5.
He made it to the Super Bowl. You got to give him some credit. Everyone was calling Mahomes the best in the league when he got to the Super Bowl his second year.
And he beat Mahomes.
He beat Mahomes head-to-head, so there's a reason to rank him currently ahead of him.
Mm-hmm.
And I think, if anything, Burrow's team got a little better on offense.
Yeah.
And Mahomes, they lost Tyreek Hill, so a little bit worse.
And Burrow was sacked.
There's only one Tyreek Hill, right? So
you're right. And Burrow was sacked 51 times last year, most in the NFL, but did lead the league in completion percentage, 70.4.
He was coming off an injury, right?
Yep,
ACL,
he was.
So he's got...
In 2020.
He's probably healthier coming in this year.
Definitely. He got sacked the most in the league last year and still was the most accurate quarterback, 70.4% completion percentage, which is honestly very impressive.
He was the guy. He was the guy hitting the long ball.
He was. No, him and Jamar Chase, and then also...
Did he have the most 50-yard bombs?
T. Higgins.
Right?
He had a good amount. Jamar Chase had...
I think he led the
at
league
least 3.
in deep ball.
Accuracy, yeah. I'd have to check the
either accuracy or total, 50-yard hookups with wideouts.
NFL advanced stats, they're always great for that. You can see that.
The other thing about Hill is Mahomes didn't always have to chuck it 60 yards. Like, it could be a 15-yard slant, and then it goes for 70.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm with you there. And I think if you look at it, that offense was so good last year. I think they're going to regress, especially considering they, got a little bit more on that offensive line. Got La'el Collins, the former Cowboy, in there, and he's obviously a very good, starting guy.
Patriots guy, right? Karras or something?
Yep, Ted Karras, right? He's the center, right? So,
I think so.
Pretty good pickups. And if you look at right now, Joe Burrow last year had 15 40-plus yard passes and 12 50-plus yard passes, which was most in the league.
That's like almost every game.
Next closest was Stafford with 10.
He's dropping one downfield 50 yards. That's pretty good.
I think Jamar Chase had at least a couple 50-yard touchdowns. I remember at fantasy, he killed me a couple times. I think
he might have led the league as a receiver with the most 50-yard bombs.
And if you look at it, this is a pretty good, statistic category. It's got a whole statistic table here. If you look at it, he was very good, honestly, all around Burrow. He had 60 20-plus yard passes, which was in the middle. Brady had 75, so Brady 20 and in was locked in, 20-plus and in. 20-plus and out, actually, I should say, not 20 and in. But then you look at it.
Best long ball guy in the game.
Yeah, I meant
That's
20
why
and
he's
out,
number
not
one.
20 and in. You're right. I mean,
touchdown, should have been MVP, should have won the Super Bowl.
Rodgers, baby. But you look at Burrow, 15, 40-plus yard passes, and then 12.
Did Rodgers croak in the first round?
He did have a tough stretch there against that Niners team. That was a tough loss. I was disappointed. But I don't have him as high as I did last year. He was my number one quarterback last year in the league. Still won MVP, so I would have been, I guess, on the track of being right, even though he didn't perform as that in the playoffs.
MVP, but very empty MVP season.
He didn't perform as the best.
If you go up in the first round, he did no better than Mac Jones.
Yeah, Mac didn't do great either on that playoff game, but yeah.
Yeah, but Mac went against the Bills, who I think would have beat the Rams.
Blew the doors off of them, as what Maz always says.
It didn't punt the whole game, so
you're right.
Bad a beating as it was in the league.
You're right. So I look at it, though. Your top five, I'm not against it. I like the Burrow pick at 3. I have Burrow in my top 5, actually, as well. So even though last year I wasn't a big Burrow guy, I think I made a preseason one last year very briefly, and I didn't talk about it on my show yet because my show didn't start till October, but I think I Burrowed like 15 or 18. I didn't have him that high, and he ends up being in my top 5 this year. So
he was coming off an ACL. I didn't think.
Yeah.
I didn't think he did.
I had 18, so like mid-tier quarterback just about, which was just good. Good quarterback. Not great, but middle of the pack between, great, good, somewhere in there I had him.
And he got in, about half a season his rookie year?
2020,
he was getting hit all the time.
He got about 10 games.
It took them a few games to actually get a win.
I think he got about 10 games in, which I can check right now. But yeah, he wasn't.
10 games maybe. But.
And he was honestly still playing with a bad offensive line, too, even last year, and he was playing with a bad one in 2020. And it's honestly impressive, though, what he was able to do with it last year. He had 11 games, or 10 games it was, exactly. 10 games in 2020, 13 touchdowns, 5 picks, 34 touchdowns, 14 picks in 16 games last year. So his numbers went up, obviously, heavily, and he had a great season.
Triple the touchdowns.
Yeah, definitely. And even the interceptions, not even that bad, too. 14 interceptions to 34 touchdowns. It's pretty good. You'll take that all day.
He's actually decently athletic, too. He's kind of mobile, so you figured coming off that knee, he might be limited.
Yeah, absolutely.
He certainly got rid of the ball a little bit more this year. But
2 rushing touchdowns. 2 rushing touchdowns, too. That factors in. Pretty good season for him. So I have him. Now I'll give you my top 5, which
into the 5.
Right away you're going to be a little upset. Patrick Mahomes, number 1. I think this year, I know the Tyreek Hill loss is big. It's a big loss. Don't get me wrong, but he still has Travis Kelce, Sky Moore, rookie wide receiver out of Western Michigan. Very good play. I'm very, very high on him. Great MAC wide receiver, one of the best receivers in the conference the past 2 or 3 years now. I got Tom Brady at 2.
D3? Is he a D3 guy?
No, MAC. Mid-American Conference kid. Easy there. You want me to get his stats up right now? I'm going to get his stats up right now for you. Just because
finish out your 5.
Just because you were saying that. All right, so I got Brady second. Brady obviously had a great season last year. I had him in fantasy the first year. I ever had a Patriot or ex-Patriot, whatever you want to say. First year I ever had a Patriot in fantasy. I know Brady wasn't a Patriot last year, but I never drafted a Patriot, former player,
20
or
years with the
current
Pats,
player.
so he's a Patriot.
Yes, and so Sky Moore, really quick. Last year, junior at Western Michigan, 12 games, 95 receptions, 1,292 receiving yards, 10 touchdowns. So obviously electric year for him. And also had a couple kick returns too freshman year. Wasn't elite kick returner, 1 kick return for 13 yards, but he has some speed. Yeah, he's some speed. He also can, make some cuts too. He's a very good player, shifty. I like him a lot. So good pick up there.
What's his build like? Is he like a...
he's not Tyreek Hill. He's not going to be as fast as him, but let me tell you what his numbers are. 5'10", 195.
His frame, is he like a slender guy?
He's got a little muscle. He's 5'10", 195, so he's got some build to him. He's got some build. 195 is not bad.
What's Tyreek? He's like 5'9".
Probably 5'9". Yeah. Tyreek's a jet, but I don't think he's as fast. Sky Moore's not as fast, but Sky Moore's good. He can make some plays. I think he's a good
I just mean physicality-wise. He's not playing in the MAC conference. He's going to be getting hit by...
Yes, now he's playing in the NFL. I get that. I know what you mean.
Jabril
right.
Peppers.
Jabril, yeah. We'll get on to him till we talk some Patriots. But we got Patrick Mahomes 1, Tom Brady 2. Very good year for Brady last year. As I said, first time I actually drafted Brady in fantasy ever. I'd never drafted really any Patriots. I did draft... James White.
At least putting him in the top 2.
I do have a second. You're probably surprised at that. But I did draft James White one year because you convinced me 2 or 3 years ago now, and you were right. He had a very good year and always puts up 15 points. I think it was 2019. I drafted him and he had a good season. So I always drafted I never drafted Patriots. I always drafted other players. So non-Patriots are always my specialty pick, I guess. I never drafted a Patriot. My preference was taking non-Patriots. But One of them was James White one year, and then obviously Brady last year. So 2 of your favorites right there I drafted. So I give a little credit to you there. But third, Josh Allen. Obviously, both of us have him pretty high. Yeah. Very big year for him last year. And that's another guy I was probably – he had a very good year.
He's probably looking at an MVP.
He's in the conversation.
Every year.
He's in the conversation for sure. I don't think Mahomes – I have Mahomes 1. So these are based off where we think quarterbacks will perform. I have Mahomes 1, but that doesn't necessarily mean he's going to win MVP. Sometimes, like Brady last year, had a better year than Rodgers probably overall, especially if you consider, Rodgers.
I mean, he even had the stats that were better than him. He had more yards, more touchdowns.
Yes, and Rodgers didn't finish the season great, obviously, too. And Brady won a playoff game, right? Won. So Rodgers obviously got blown out. Or didn't get blown out. They lost that first game to the Niners. It wasn't a blowout. They very low scoring game, actually.
Brady could have won that game, too. He threw that bomb over Ramsey's head, touchdown. Then the defense let Cooper Kupp get free for 45
150 yards total in that game. Yeah, it was just ridiculous. Kupp's
and those were the Super Bowl champs that they lost to, I guess.
Yeah, so right there. So I have Allen 3, 4 Aaron Rodgers. That's another guy you're probably not that high on.
That's just a pure reputation pick for no reason.
The reason why I look at it, Romeo Doubs, rookie wide receiver.
I've heard he's been having beef with these.
I heard that too. But sometimes you kind of need that. Maybe it'll make the players step up. Maybe it'll help Doubs. Allen Lazard.
Good take.
Lazard had a very good finish last season. Very good finish to last season.
When I hear Allen Lazard, all I think is Jacoby Myers. It's the same type of guy.
Oh, he's better than Myers.
No.
He's better than Myers.
Same exact thing.
He's better than Jacoby Myers. Come on, Jacoby Myers only had 1 touchdown in his career, doesn't he, right now?
He's probably got more receptions.
All right, I'll look at Allen Lazard right now, what he did last year. 8 touchdowns, 513 receiving yards off 40 receptions in 15 games. That's pretty good.
Myers had more than 500 yards.
Probably did. But if you look at it, though, he had a very good finish to last season, and I'm going to tell you what he did in the end of last season, the last few games. So he finished last season. It was Week 13, 6 catches, 75 yards, a touchdown. Week 15, 2 catches, 45 yards, a touchdown. Week 16, 6 catches, 72 yards, on touchdown. Then Week 17, 5 catches, 75 yards, 2 touchdowns. Finished last season very strong. So I think he could be.
And they played who? The Lions, the Giants, the Jets.
It was Bears. Of those teams I just named, Bears, Browns, Vikings, Lions.
So the worst teams in the league.
No, Minnesota was decent last year. They were all right?
Their division is horrendous.
Minnesota's okay, right? I mean...
No, they were god-awful, and they fired the coach.
They were great, but... I mean, if you look at their record...
Record numbers.
You look at their record, they were 8-9, so they weren't that bad. But yeah, they did
fire the Lions a few times, too. I mean,
yeah, that's true.
Just by virtue of how weak their schedule is, they get 8 wins.
Yeah, but if you look at it, the defense is always all right, too, so...
they're a sub-500 team. They're not good.
Yeah, they're always right on the edge, though, 500 typically. But, so, as I said, I got 4 Aaron Rodgers, 5 Joe Burrow. Both of us pretty high on Joe Burrow as well. So, Allen, Brady, Burrow, Mahomes, we all have in our top 5. You do have Justin Herbert in your top 5. I don't. I got Aaron Rodgers instead. Yes.
I mean, I've got the ascending guy, and you've got the guy on the decline who just lost his best receiver. So
I don't think he's on the decline.
I like my odds there. I'll take my chances.
I don't think he's on the decline. He did add Juju Smith-Schuster as well. We forgot to add that. Juju's over
ascending? There. He's at a plateau or he's declining. And
he's still gonna have a good year. You could have said that about Rodgers last year. He won MVP.
He didn't deserve it.
He did win it though. So I think Patrick Mahomes, Sky Moore, and I'm a big fan of Juju Smith-Schuster as well. 2 great pickups right there.
I'd rather have 1 Super Bowl than 10 MVPs.
Yeah, no, Super Bowl victories are important. Don't get me wrong. But if you look at it, they did revamp pretty good without Tyreek Hill. Obviously, it's not Tyreek Hill, but Sky Moore, Juju Smith-Schuster, 2 good plays. And they obviously got a lot back in return for Tyreek Hill, too. So if he wasn't going to stay and you weren't going to pay him, why not trade him is how I see it. If you're going to get some value for him, why not?
He's not individually replaceable, but there's no need to hang on to just one wide receiver at that money when there's so many good receivers every year coming out of the draft.
Yeah.
It's still going to be a regression, though. You still can't replace... I mean, he's kind of like a Randy Moss type of guy. What he does to an offense, the deep threat, the touchdown potential, no matter where he gets the ball.
I'm with you. I get that.
He's not Randy Moss, but him and Mahomes have that connection. When the play breaks down, he just jets off to the other side of the field. No one can catch him, and he hums it 70 yards. Like, Travis Kelce doesn't do that.
I get that. But if you look at it, though...
these new receivers aren't going to be doing that yet.
Sky Moore, though.
Juju's good, but he's not, like... he used to catch a lot of shorter routes for Ben.
Yes.
He's a bigger guy.
I get that.
He's been banged up.
He has had some injuries, but if you look at it, though, Sky Moore, though, I think he's going to be that dynamic player in that offense. 4.41 40-yard dash last year. 4.41 40-yard dash at the Combine this past year. I shouldn't say last year, this past year. And if you look at it, very speedy, shifty wide receiver. And I think he can play a similar role to Tyreek Hill in that offense. And that's why I have him Mahomes, number one. I think, obviously, Juju and Sky Moore could maybe add up to at least 3/4 of the production that Tyreek Hill had. I do think they could.
That's possible.
So that's why I have him at 1. So I have Mahomes at 1. You got Brady at 1. I have Brady at 2. You have Josh Allen at 2. I have Josh Allen at 3. You have Joe Burrow at 3. I got Aaron Rodgers at 4. You have Justin Herbert at 4. I got Burrow at 5. You got Mahomes at 5. So pretty solid top 5. So we get 4 of the top 5 same plays jumbled around.
Yeah, some overlap. I mean,
and that's what's going to happen. It's the NFL.
There's a lot of known commodities up there. That's for sure.
And as I said, I think the beauty of it, as I said, is the season hasn't started. So this is why it's great conversation. Now it's going to get interesting, 6 through 10. You want to go first, 6 through 10?
Yeah, I'll give my 6 through 10 here. So, got a comeback story here, Russell Wilson.
Okay.
I struggle with this part a little bit. Lamar Jackson, Matt Ryan, Derek Carr, and then Aaron Rodgers.
Okay.
At a lowly 10th best in the league.
Wow. Okay, you still have him in the top 10, so I'm pretty impressive.
I got him in the top. I didn't slip him out of the top 10 yet. I think, his past performance keeps him inside the top 10. Being a top 10 quarterback in the NFL is still good. I mean, any one of these guys could beat another one of the top 10 in a game, probably even in a playoff game, except for, old Brady out on his own there.
Hey, but Rodgers, 2-time reigning MVP, 37 touchdowns to 7 picks last year in 16 games. He missed a game.
I know, but he's just become a guy where he puts up a lot of stats in the regular season, and he's carrying around this big old never wins in the playoffs type of reputation now. And now he's losing home games in the playoffs. It used to be he never gets home games. Now he gets home games. Brady's first year on the Bucs came into Lambeau and blew doors on him.
Yeah, you're not wrong.
That halftime touchdown split the game wide open.
You're not wrong. I get that.
But, I mean, I think the big pick there is Russell Wilson at 6. I just think the Broncos will do well this year, and I'm pegging them for a bounce back.
I respect that. I don't have him that high.
Removed from the injury, I don't know.
I don't have him that high, but I respect that at 6. Because I'm going to have some guys you're not a fan of. Once we get past 10, there are a good amount of guys you are going to disagree with that are in my 10 to 18 range, 10 to 20 range, I should say.
Yeah, spit out your 6 through 10. We'll see.
So 6 through 10, I got Lamar Jackson at 6, right outside of the top 5. I have him having a bounce back year this year. Not a great season from last year. I think it was 16 touchdowns with 13 picks. Was not his best season.
So banged up. Yeah, I got him at 7.
Only played 12 games and 2 rushing touchdowns, 767 rushing yards, which was still impressive in 12 games.
He had like the double COVID or something.
Yes, COVID twice, I believe, and then also had another injury.
I mean, he did have a marquee. They beat Mahomes, I think.
Once they did beat Mahomes.
Or at home or in Arrowhead, I forget.
I believe it was at Arrowhead, if I remember right. I think it was.
Yeah, and he hadn't been able to break that. I think he was unlucky one of the other 2 times because Suggs didn't pick up a fumble on Mahomes.
Yeah.
First time they matched up, but
it was home. It was home versus Kansas City.
Game, and he was the star of the game.
It was home versus Kansas City. That's what it is. 36-35 win at home in Baltimore. Sunday night football it was. So pretty good game though. But yeah. So I have him at 6.
He had the big 4th down conversion.
Yes. Oh yeah, ran to the outside. Is that one?
I think he might have powered sort of up the middle.
Okay, yes. I'm thinking of 2 years ago against the Browns when he had that play around the middle when he got hurt or whatever, came back out on 4th down and threw a play.
Yeah. He had to go drop one and then he came back out.
Yes, that's what I was thinking of that play. So that's a different year now, 2020.
The Kansas City game was even better. I think it might have been he had that jump pass.
Yes, you're right. Yeah,
he chucked it over the secondary to Marquise Brown there, and then he just converted a few big 4th downs. Mahomes ended up throwing a pick.
You're right. 42-yard touchdown pass in the 3rd quarter to Marquise Brown. You remember that correctly.
I think it was the game, too, where they keep showing that highlight, like NFL Network and Red Zone, where he flipped in and, landed on his hip.
Yeah. He had a good game. I mean, did have 2 picks that game. If you look at what he did on the ground, 16 carries, 107 yards.
I think Mahomes might have had a pick and a fumble. Or maybe.
Yeah, he did. Mahomes had a pick. Lamar Jackson had 239 passing yards, a touchdown, 2 picks. Got sacked once. Mahomes, 24 completions, 343 passing yards, 3 touchdowns, a pick. And then you look at what Lamar Jackson did on the ground, 16 carries, 107 yards, and 2 touchdowns on the ground. So very impressive game.
The way the game played out, though, was Lamar turned it over early. Chiefs got a lead. But then as the game went on, Baltimore's offense started taking over the game. And then Mahomes ended up throwing a pick his last drive, I think.
Mm-hmm. And that's a big win.
The grasp and chucked it out there. And that's why I got him number 5. I mean, he just, no matter what, he always thinks he can make a magical play. He's chucking the ball rather than tucking it and going down.
And he added, if you look at what they did in the offseason, obviously they got rid of Marquise Brown. It's a big loss. But they did add a tight end that went to Everett High, that played for Coastal Carolina, Isaiah Likely. 8 catches last night and 8 targets.
Oh, I heard, yeah.
100 yards and a touchdown. Was great last night.
His favorite target there is Andrews. So.
Exactly. Now he's a tight end. And I know there's a side note here, but do you see what Anthony Brown did last night?
No.
10 for 13, I believe it was. 90 passing yards on 2 touchdowns, I believe, if I remember right. So I know you're not big.
You have Anthony Brown, number 6? Wow.
I would have Anthony Brown. I don't have him in my backup quarterback rankings, but if he was a second-string quarterback, which is obviously going to be Huntley, I'd have him definitely in there somewhere in my top backups. I think he's a very good quarterback. I'm a big Anthony Brown guy, but did throw 2 touchdowns last night. I'll break that down at some point in my show whenever I talk about the Giants' full breakdown, which the Giants won last night.
Day.
I'm saving it for another day. Don't worry. I won't take up your time with that since I know you're not a big fan of him.
You got Lamar at 6.
Lamar at 6. Derek Carr at 7. I see a big year for that Raiders team. I got Justin Herbert at 8. I think he has a good year. I think everyone that has him in the MVP conversation, though, which I see he could be in the MVP conversation. He had a very good year last year. I don't see him in the top 5 necessarily yet, finishing the year in the top 5. Right now, he might be in a lot of people's eyes, but I think he probably finished on 8. Still a very good year, but I don't think he's better than Rodgers, Allen, Brady, or Mahomes, in my opinion. That's just me, though. I think he's a very good quarterback. I have him at 8th. And I think with that offense, they're going to score a lot of points, but I think if you look at it, I have those other 7 guys ahead of him. That's just my preference now. I got Matt Ryan at 9. I see a very big year for Matt Ryan. That's probably my biggest pick in here. I am all in on the Colts.
Matt Ryan at 8, so.
I am all in on the Colts. I am all in on the Raiders. I am all in on both of those teams.
Yeah,
all in.
Those guys, do we have them flip-flopped?
Yes. So I have Carr at 7.
I got Ryan 8, Carr 9.
Okay, I get Carr at 7, Matt Ryan 9. And I think people are going to hear this and be like, why do you guys have those guys so high? Derek Carr just added Devontae Adams, the best receiver in the league, in my opinion. And then you look at what Matt Ryan's going from now, has a competent offensive line, the best running back in the game, Michael Pittman, and Frank Wright calling plays. That is a huge upgrade.
And the biggest advantage of all, he's in a weak division.
Exactly. See, you drilled it. I got Matty Ice Baby, number 9, former BC quarterback, my boy, your boy, number 9. Number 10, Dak Prescott. I got Dak at 10.
Okay.
He had a very good year last year. I've never been a Dak guy. I had him probably around 12 to 15 last year coming off the injury.
Even though Cooper's gone.
Yes, I still think he has a decent year. I think he's a good year. He had 37 touchdowns, 10 picks last year. And obviously without Cooper, it's a big loss. But I still have him as a 10th quarterback. I give him his respect that I haven't given him.
He played well against the Pats, so.
Yeah. And
what's not to like?
And once again, the division's not great either. I think the Eagles still win this division, which we're going to get into. But
yeah, defensively, it's not great.
Exactly. So I think he has a good year. I have Dak Prescott at 10th. And I give him some respect that I have not given him over the last few years. So to run it back.
Dak, I got Russell.
Yes.
That's the big difference.
Yes.
I got Russell at 6.
You got Russell at 6. I get Dak at 10. I also have Matt Ryan and Derek Carr in there and Lamar Jackson. We have 3 guys, 6 through 10, that both of us match up with. So pretty cool, though. That's
pretty
cool how it works out.
Similar names, though, in the top 10, I gotta
yes,
say.
Now it gets interesting. 11 through 20.
I thought it would be a little different.
11 through 20. I thought it would be different, too. But now this is when things will probably go downhill, at least. And for me, in your eyes, you'll probably think I'm crazy. But 11 through 20, do you want to go or do you want me to go first this time?
You throw your
11 through 20?
Yeah, throw them up.
All right, 11 through 20. So I think Stafford has a down year, which I still think he's 11th quarterback just because of what he has on that offense. Even with that elbow tendonitis, he still has a very good offensive line. Obviously, they added Allen Robinson. I'm not a big Allen Robinson guy, but now he's their 3rd wide receiver, and he's going to succeed probably in that system. They get Odell Beckham Jr. back. They got Cooper Kupp already as well. They're going to have a very good year on offense.
Is Odell actually coming back to the Rams?
They say, they're talking to him, and I know the Bills are still trying to get him because Von Miller and him are very good friends.
I think he's going somewhere else.
Maybe the Bills. Who knows? He'll follow Von Miller. But I have him still at 11 just because of the weapons he has. And obviously he has McVay calling plays for him too. That's a big advantage. So I got Matt Stafford at 11 even with the tendonitis. If the tendonitis keeps him out of games though, and let's say only plays 12 games out of the 17, he'd probably be like 18 in my opinion. But as of right now, I have him 11th if he plays, 15 out of 17 games. He might miss a couple games with it, who knows. But so I get him at 11. This is where it gets crazy. And I know a lot of people are going to be listening. They're probably calling me crazy, but you already know where I stand. You already know where I stand on this player and how I feel. And I believe this truly with all of my heart. Daniel Jones, baby, at number 12. Daniel Jones at number 12. And you might think I'm crazy. Everyone's going to think I'm nuts. You look at what he's had to deal with. Look at what Daniel Jones has had to deal with. And I'm going to run over very briefly because I don't want to keep you night all night here. I'm not going to keep you all night here with all the Giants' issues over the past 3 years. But if you look at it, 2 years, first year was with Pat Sherman, not a great head coach, but a good offensive coordinator. 2 years with Joe Judge, absolutely abysmal. Had the second or third worst offensive line each of the last 2 seasons. He's on his third head coach with Brian Daboll. His fourth offensive coordinator now is Mike Kafka, quarterback's coach with the Chiefs last year. Now he gets Brian Daboll, the offensive coordinator that helped out Josh Allen. So he gets the guys that were working with Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes. So you got 2 of those upgrades right there. Then you look at it.
Those guys go from working with Josh Allen and Pat Mahomes to working with a guy who's going to be working at Macy's.
Don't disrespect my boy like that. Don't disrespect him.
I guess they get Tyrod Taylor, I guess.
The Giants have had a bottom 3 offensive line each of the last 2 years. And if you look at it,
they don't improve much, are they? What do they even have?
And if you look at it, Joe Judge, as the head coach, regressed Daniel Jones heavily. And that's the reason I have Mac Jones very low here. I know Patriots fans are going to be very mad about it, but it's not an indictment against Mac Jones. Matt Patricia and Joe Judge should not be calling plays. Okay, they shouldn't even be probably coaching in the NFL, realistically, with how bad they were with the Lions and the Giants. Which I like Joe Judge as a person. I think he's a great guy. He's not a head coach. And that's the reason Daniel Jones regressed. That guy could not game plan for a game. And if you look at it, now he's got an offense that actually lets them move the ball downfield. The Giants were so conservative over the last 2 years and didn't let him play freely.
He moved the ball to the other team last game, right?
It was through the hands of Daniel Bellinger, tip pass. That was not Daniel Jones' fault. That was Daniel Bellinger's fault. Listen to Chris Sims.
Pass. It was supposed to be a touch pass from the quarterback. He threw a laser beam at the kid's head.
Listen to Chris Sims, Pro Football Talk, absolute GOAT. He broke it down, and he even said he's sick and tired of the Daniel Jones stand-up.
Chris Sims still thinks that, guys who were out of the league after 3 weeks are great quarterbacks. If you play quarterback in the NFL, you're automatically...
He gives respect to you, though. He gives you respect. So I have Daniel Jones at 12, and there's one other thing, or 11 that is. 12 it is, 12. And there's one thing I want to say, though. 11 games last year. 2,400 passing yards, so not great. Still, what can you do with an offense that was so conservative? 10 touchdowns, 7 picks, 64% completion percentage, 298 rushing yards, 2 rushing touchdowns. But if you look at what he added, look at what he added. So Brian Daboll, Mike Kafka, worked with Patrick Mahomes and Josh Allen. Evan Neal, 7th pick of the draft. Wan'Dale Robinson, 2nd-round pick wide receiver, shiftiest receiver. You could say he had the 3 catches for negative 3 yards last night.
3 catches for negative 3 yards. I mean, this guy is not going to come in the league and be Jerry Rice.
But look, if you didn't see the game, though, it's very different. We've agreed on this before. It's different watching the game, looking at the box score.
3 catches for negative 3 yards is going to look better in person than it does looking at it
was a tough play design, which I know I'm talking about Daboll,
it's
but
probably a vanilla play.
And they're not going to give away. It's this.
How is it going to be better when they're playing against first-string players and better teams? They got a tough opening schedule.
Listen, they are not going to be giving away, and this isn't just the Giants. It's offenses in general. They're not going to give away all the secrets.
You've got a team opening the season 0-3, and you expect the team to have confidence.
We will not be 0-3. We will not be 0-3. And I think the Giants' floor is 7-10. Ceiling is 10-7. I think we finish 9-8, realistically. That's where I think we stand right now.
9-8 is always enough to win the NFC least.
That's the thing. I think the Giants go on a run, which I'm not going to get into that right now. But one thing I want to say.
I don't think you can rightfully put him at, would you have 12?
Yes.
Unless they pretty much win the division.
Daniel Jones, though.
I know you have Dak ahead of him.
I have Dak ahead of him. But look at Daniel Jones. Added Wan'Dale Robinson, and you didn't see those plays yesterday.
I don't want to look at him ever again.
You did not look at those plays yesterday. 3 catches, negative 3 yards, tough play designs, and those Bengals DBs made some nice plays. At least one of them, they cut him down pretty good. It was like a 5-yard loss, which he had a couple plays where he got some yards, but obviously negative 3 yards overall. But then you look at it, also healthy Saquon Barkley. And I know you're down on both these guys. If I could go back to the 2018 NFL draft with the 2nd pick, and I could go back to the 6th pick in the 2019 NFL draft, I'm going back in. I'm taking Daniel Jones. I'm taking Saquon Barkley. In 2018, taking Saquon. 2019. Daniel Jones. Yes, he was ghetto god.
GM face, so you would have been fired just like him.
Gettleman was not a great GM, but I'll tell you this. He drilled both of those draft picks, and the problem with it...
that the GM takes that he's more judged on than the quarterback. If you draft a good quarterback and your other positions suck, they keep... You don't get fired. Like, if you draft Joe Burrow and a bunch of turnstile offensive linemen, you're still going to be the GM.
But look at it this way. Look at the way I'm telling you right now. He drafted 2 great picks there. And let me say it right now. Let me finish this line because I know you're going to be mad.
So the running back, where the number one thing is to keep him upright on a good team.
And I just was going to say, did you not support him?
He's off the field.
They did not
You
surround
don't take
him.
a running back at number 2.
They did not surround him with
Just
the right pieces. Nate Solder was an absolute whiff of a left tackle signing. Actually, at one point, had the most guaranteed money for an offensive lineman in the NFL.
Quentin Nelson, then.
And if you look at it, we took Andrew Thomas, 4th pick of the 2020 draft. Great offensive tackle, but did miss some games his rookie year. And that was part of the reason Saquon also got a little banged up too. But that was a great pick. So it took him really 3 years to get a good offensive lineman for Dave Gettleman. That was the problem with Gettleman. 2018, 19, 2020. It took him 3 seasons, basically, that 3rd season, to get a good offensive lineman. That's why he failed in being the GM. But I think Daniel Jones, Saquon Barkley, 2 great
running
picks.
Backs don't get paid.
I would take Daniel Jones
they're
and Saquon Barkley. I know what you're saying, but I would take Daniel Jones, Saquon Barkley all over again at 2nd and 6th overall. He absolutely drilled those picks. And I don't think he was a great GM, but I call him Ghetto God for a reason because of those 2 picks.
I think we got to end this podcast.
We got to, all right, hold on. We did go off on a tangent here because you keep interrupting the Daniel Jones thing because I know you're not a big fan of him. But Daniel Jones is a rookie, 24 touchdowns, 12 picks. Talk about the fumbles all you want. He did cut those down the last 2 years now. And if you look at it, now he is an offensive coordinator.
He's 5th-year quarterback now. I mean,
4th.
Rookie year. You can keep
going into his 4th year.
For RG3, the guy's in the booth now calling games.
RG3 was also hurt. There was a difference.
It's a long time ago. It's what have you done for me lately?
RG3 was hurt, and that's the difference. But I think if you look at Daniel Jones, now he's a great offensive coordinator, a great head coach, at least improved. Even if you want to say great, improved.
Would you say that he has concussion problems now?
No, I don't. It was one
He's
concussion.
taking a beating, this guy.
One concussion. He has, so you're admitting it's not Daniel Jones' fault. He's taking a beating.
This is not a positive thing.
You're admitting he's taking a beating.
He takes a beating. This guy's been drilled in the head a million times.
He hasn't. It's not his fault. It's not his fault. He can't throw the ball.
More hits and bounce back. Like I saw him last year. He didn't know where he was after number one play, leaning your head in there against an NFL linebacker. But
he had to put the team on his back. He had no option but to try to dive into the end zone there.
Oh, my team's 1-10.
It was not 1-10. It was earlier in the season. It was, I believe, week 4 or 5 against the Cowboys. He got hurt and Saquon got hurt that same game. But if you look at it, let me finish this line really quick because I know you're going to be mad about it. Saquon Barkley, Daniel Jones, both those guys being healthy.
You think
now
you
have
LaDainian Tomlinson and
they now have a competent offensive coordinator, a competent head coach, and a competent GM. Joe Shane, absolute beauty of a GM. This Giants team is turning around the entire franchise. The energy is shifting, and even last night, it's a preseason game, the energy is shifting. The energy is shifting for this Giants team. Daniel Jones, 14-16, 116 passing yards. Did have a pick last night, but did also a touchdown on that 3rd drive. And that interception was not his fault. He should have been 15-16.
Did he have a touchdown? I didn't see a touchdown on the stat line.
It was a rushing touchdown by Jashawn Corbin. Jay-Sean Corbin. Very good undrafted free agent running back out of Florida State. I think he makes the team, actually. He had a very good game last night. But
undrafted running back. He should be taking Saquon's spot, and they should be sending Saquon to Siberia.
He is
over there in Seattle and get something.
Daniel Jones, Saquon Barkley are going to have huge years. I get Daniel Jones at number 12. I know people are going to be mad about it. Wait until you see how much he improves this season. Now he's an offensive coordinator that's going to let him pass the ball downfield. Unlike Joe Judge, who didn't let him do anything.
I'll give you this for positivity. This is all we're going to say about him. He's got nowhere to go but up because he's been bottom of the barrel.
And here's the thing. You could say there's nowhere to go but up, but look what he did his rookie year. 24 passing touchdowns in 12 games. Your boy Mac Jones had 22 in 16 games. Mac Jones had 22 touchdowns in 17 games last year. Wasn't he in 16 games? 22 passing touchdowns in 17 games.
48 turnovers in 12 games.
It's not 48 turnovers in 12 games.
He had a lot.
It was not 48. I believe it was 19 with 11 lost. It was 11 fumbles lost. So 11 fumbles with 12 turnovers. With 12 interceptions. So it was 12 and 11, 23 turnovers.
So it's almost like the worst of worst, both worlds. You run around a lot, so you put the ball on the ground. And then you make errant throws, so you're throwing to the other team half the time.
No, it's not that, though.
If he cuts his turnovers down, then you can actually see what he's like. But you know what? Right now, he's defined by turnovers and losses.
It's a mob mentality. People go at him for the turnovers. He's cut that down over the last few years now. People aren't understanding that. He hasn't an offensive coordinator. He hasn't an head coach. You don't need everything to succeed. I understand that.
He's not converting them into wins, though. Like, if you're still losing the same number of games.
Joe Burrow,
Justin
Herbert, Tom Brady, put any of them in this Giants system, none of them would be putting up the numbers they're putting up right now. None of them would be putting up the numbers.
The losingest franchise in American sports and then won the Super Bowl.
He had Bill Belichick. I know Bill Belichick is not the same head coach without him.
You got to admit this. I'll say it as a Patriots fan. When he came to the Patriots, they had never won a Super Bowl either. So, I mean, he came to a team that did not have a winning reputation. Granted, on the Patriots, the defense was great.
Hey, I'm a fan of the underdog always. I'm a fan of the underdog mentality. Daniel Jones is the biggest underdog in the NFL this year. I have him at 12th. I have him ahead of your boy Russell Wilson. I have him ahead. I have him ahead of your boy Russell Wilson. Ahead of him. I don't care.
Underdog. That's bold.
I think he is going to have the biggest season of the quarterbacks with the most pressure on them this year. I do. And considering the quarterbacks have pressure on them, let's say Baker Mayfield, Sam Darnold was the backup there, but Sam Darnold, Carson Wentz, Jalen Hurts, Daniel Jones, Tua, all these quarterbacks that have pressure on them, all these quarterbacks that are going to have good seasons. I think Daniel Jones has the best year out of all those guys. I truly do. I have him at 12th. 13th, Russell Wilson. 14th, Kirk Cousins. Kirk Cousins had a very good year last year. Obviously, typically an average quarterback, record-wise, but he doesn't perform in the biggest games, especially, primetime games. But he had a good year last year. I have him at 14. Kyler Murray, 15. Jared Goff, 16. I think Jared Goff has a good year this year. He had a decent year last year. Zach Wilson.
As bold as your pick for Daniel Jones.
You want to look at some of Jared Goff's numbers last year, though, really quick?
No.
3,200 passing touchdowns, 19 touchdowns, 8 interceptions, with a 91.5 passer rating. Higher than his last two seasons.
They were down, but double digits every game.
His passer rating was higher than his last 2 seasons with the Rams last year. So, very good year for him last year. 19 touchdowns, 8 picks. I'll take that all day. I got Goff having a good year. And there's a reason. There's a receiver, which we're not going to talk about right now. Can't give it away the fantasy advice here. But I think Jared Goff has a very good year.
Don't worry. You can talk about him all day long. Nobody's picking him.
16, Jared Goff. 17, Zach Wilson. 18, Tua Tagovailoa. 19, Jalen Hurts. 20, Jameis Winston. Jameis Winston, a guy you're not going to be very high on, but had a good year last year. 14 touchdowns, 3 picks, and 7 games played. James had a good year last year. 7 games played, 14 touchdowns, 3 picks, with 1,100 passing yards in those 7 games.
It's part of the game plan that they pull him out to put a tight end in as a wildcat white running back guy. I mean, he's not a good quarterback. All you have to know about him is 30 touchdowns, 30 picks.
And he's
Daniel Jones, but he just does double of everything.
Dude, don't even start the Daniel Jones slander, honestly.
It's the same thing as Daniel Jones, except a little slower, and he throws twice as many picks.
And one thing I forgot to say about Daniel Jones, I care more about Daniel Jones and Saquon Barkley succeeding to a degree more than I care about the Giants winning. Even if it's not even as a Giant.
That's a fraud. No, that's flawed.
Even if it's not as a Giant. Even if it's not as a Giant.
Finish with a top 10 or 5 pick, whatever pick you need in order to get in the range of getting a top quarterback coming into the draft. Do they have to move off him? I think they do. I think Dayball owes it to himself to get a top quarterback.
I think if you look at it, though, Daniel Jones would have been a highly drafted quarterback in this year's draft. And even in 2020, obviously wouldn't have been that high. But I think in that range of all those rookie quarterbacks in 2021,
the most recent draft, you're saying? Yeah.
2022's draft, he would have been very high. He would have been a high quarterback. 2021, though, what I was going to say about those quarterbacks is he had a good rookie year. He had a better rookie year than most of those quarterbacks in 2021. Mac Jones had 22 touchdowns in 17 games. Daniel Jones, 24 or 12 games without the offensive line, without the head coach. Look at it. Look at that. Daniel Jones had a very good year. I think, as I said, what I meant to say was I think Daniel Jones had a better rookie year in 2021 than Trevor Lawrence, Zach Wilson, Trey Lance, Mac Jones. All 4 of those quarterbacks.
2019, 18, 19.
2019, 6th overall selection. 6th overall.
Too much Daniel Jones talk. I mean, I forget about the guy, really, because he's just so irrelevant.
If you look at the quarterbacks that were drafted in 2021, though, okay, really quick. Trevor Lawrence, Zach Wilson. Daniel Jones had better rookie years than both of those guys, easily. Mac Jones, better rookie year. Justin Fields.
You got to admit, Trevor Lawrence was given maybe the worst team coach, roster, even where they play. I mean, Jacksonville compared to New York,
Jacksonville doesn't have the media coverage, though, that New York's harder to play in just because of the media. You get torn apart if you had a bad game. Look at Daniel Jones. He's been getting slandered every single day for 3 years.
They don't spend any money on the team down there. I mean,
they're starting to spend now.
It's a second-rate franchise, maybe third.
They're starting to spend now. But my point is this.
I mean, they were thinking about moving that team to a different country. It's such a poor franchise. Let's be real here.
They were talking about at one point maybe putting a team in Europe. But
they took another guy from the media booth, made him a coach. He thought he was Bill Belichick, and then he's out there.
One of the best college coaches ever, though, Urban Meyer.
I remember, the guy's terrible.
All right, really quick, though. Trevor Lawrence.
He stayed upright the whole year, no?
He wasn't a great head coach. I mean, but Trevor Lawrence, Zach Wilson.
Quarterback.
I get that. He did have a great situation. But if you look at what those 5 rookie quarterbacks last year in the first round, Jones, Fields, Lance, Wilson, Lawrence, Daniel Jones had better rookie years than all of them. It's not even an argument. I don't even care. Say Mac Jones made the playoffs. Mac Jones made the playoffs. 24 touchdowns in 12 games. Maybe you want to argue the Mac Jones pick, go ahead. But the other 4 quarterbacks, it's not close. Daniel Jones had a better rookie year than all 4 of them. Nope. I'm not going to argue that.
Not if you're not winning games.
None of those 4 won games. Fields, Lance, Wilson, or Lawrence didn't win any games. Didn't win games, though, regardless. That's not my fault. He didn't play. Daniel Jones stepped right in and played by week 3.
He just didn't play. It's tough to judge a guy who didn't play. Unless you say he wasn't ready to play. That's why he didn't play.
I think that's what the situation might have been.
He wasn't. That's true.
All right, so run over I'm just going to say it really quick. Stafford at 11. I have Stafford at 11, Jones at 12, and that's Daniel Jones. Russell Wilson at 13. I think they have a down. I think Russell Wilson, he's declining a little. That's the problem with Russell Wilson.
That's fair.
I think that's the reason I have him at 13. I do think they have a good team, but if you look at his numbers last year, now going into his 11th season in the NFL, 25 touchdowns and 6 picks.
I think you got to throw it out with that messed up finger and brutal offensive line.
That's true, but I think they're a little overrated what the situation is in Denver. They have a good team, but everyone's talking like it's an elite roster.
I think their defense is a little underrated.
Their defense might be underrated, but still, it's not like he's going to a perfect situation like in Tampa Bay where they had all these receivers, which is Jerry Jeudy.
It's also the best home field advantage in the league.
Yeah, the thinnest air, so you can air it out. But if you look at it, though,
his game. He's a long ball type guy when he gets going.
Yeah, but if you look at what Brady went to in Tampa Bay, this is what people are talking like Russell Wilson going to there. Like he has Mike Evans and Chris Godwin. He does not have that in Denver. He doesn't. People are talking like that's the situation he's going to.
Yeah, but he had DK and Lockett. I mean, it's one thing to have 2 good receivers. It's another to actually be able to snap the ball, look downfield, scan for your second option before you get your head ripped off.
That's Daniel Jones. He has no time. But and so here's the thing. So I got Russell Wilson, 13, Kirk Cousins at 14. Kirk Cousins coming off a good year, 33 touchdowns, 7 picks. Doesn't always win the big games.
Terrible record. He was horrible.
59, and 2 as a starter. So they're going to be average. So that's why I have him at 14. But he's a good quarterback, stats-wise. 15, Kyler Murray. I don't know. I think he's always up there, in one of the most overrated quarterbacks. I think he's good, but I don't think he's in that top 5 to 7 range at all. I don't think you can compare him to those 7 that we have in our top 7. Then I got, at least our top 5, that is. Maybe 7, you can make some arguments, but top 5. Then I got Jared Goff, 16. I see him having a big step-up year again. He had a good year last year. 17, Zach Wilson. 18, Tua Tagovailoa. Adding a guy like, obviously, Jalen Waddle in the draft in 2020, but then obviously adding a guy with Jalen Waddle's 2020 draft, right? 2020 draft.
No, he was last year.
Was he 2021? Yeah. He was a rookie. Okay, you're right. He was a rookie last year. So you add Jalen Waddle in the draft last year and then add a guy like Tyreek Hill, 2 of the fastest, shiftiest receivers in the NFL, both of them now helping out Tua Tagovailoa. I got Jalen Hurts at 19. I think that Philadelphia team set up to win. I think they win the division. I think they have a good team around him, so he needs to have a good season. And I get James at 20 based off of what he did last year in those 7 games with New Orleans. So let's hear your let's hear your 11.
Dak at 11. I know Dak was your top 10.
Yep, I had Dak at 10.
Honestly, I could see Dak as good as number 6 quarterback.
Yeah, I get that.
But I just think, you lose a good receiver. Zeke's another year older. Dak's been banged up a little bit. I don't think the coaching situation is good, and their offensive line, I don't know if it's made any marketable improvements, right? I mean, it was the best line in the league a few years ago, and now it's the same
average.
Guys, just a little older. If not, they lost a few.
It's like average, middle of the pack now. It's not as good. It's like 10 probably.
I'm a big CD Lamb guy. I think he's going to be great filling for number 1 wide receiver, but who's the number 2, 3?
They said James Washington. Now he's hurt, though.
Dalton Schultz is good.
Great tight end.
I think he's banged up, and he was never a big
Washington is banged
volume guy. Like, he might make 1 or 2 splash plays a game. You need someone you can throw the ball to.
Gallup, he's coming off that injury.
Yeah, but when's he coming back?
Michael Gallup, I mean, a good couple games in every plays. And I think if you look at it, maybe they go for another free agent wide receiver, like, let's say, Odell. You never know.
Yeah, you never know what shakes out. Like, I think you can find pretty good receivers off the street in the NFL just because there's so many, but...
Yeah, I'm with you there. I like your pick there with Dak. I think he's
I like Dak at 11. So I got, let me look here. Dak, I got Mac Jones at 12.
Okay.
I got Jones at 12.
All right, this is where we start differing.
I got Big Mac.
You got Mac Jones at 12. I got Daniel Jones at 12. You know what's funny?
It's head to head.
Where I have Mac Jones is probably where you have Daniel Jones. So it's going to be great. We have the Joneses flipped. It's great. I love it. Keep going.
This is probably true. Well, here's the thing with Mac. It's a hometown pick. He's probably rated a little high. I think he's in the middle pack of quarterbacks. So I'm going to put him at the top of the middle because I'm a Patriots fan. But
yeah, I think
coming off of making the playoffs as a rookie, I got to expect that he's going to get – I'm expecting him to get better as a player. I think the offense roster-wise is better. hopefully healthier, especially on that line. No James White, which is tough on third downs because I think the Patriots offense does well when you're in short yardage on third down. You can kick it out to the flat, easily extend drives. But you saw that nice 45-yard bomb he had, good touch on it, right into the hands of Aguilar.
That was a good toss. I respect that.
In the red zone, it looked like he was getting some rapport with Hunter Henry last year where they have like 8 or 10 touchdowns.
Yeah, I think it was somewhere around there, 9 touchdowns, I think, yeah.
They got Big Mondre Stevenson coming out of the backfield. Everyone says he's got great hands. I mean, he catches some balls.
Might be a third down back.
I think they're going to struggle with catching balls out of the backfield. I hope not, but that's my concern with the offense because I think it's an important part of every offense. Even Mahomes checks the ball down sometimes.
You have to, but I think some quarterbacks abuse
because,
it.
You can't always go deep.
Some quarterbacks abuse it, though.
What's up?
Some quarterbacks abuse it, though, I think, the checkdowns. But, yeah, I know what you mean. You can't always go deep.
Abuse it until they stop it is the thing. Because if you can stop it, it's, there's fumble opportunities, short yardage, no gain, whatever. But, yeah, so I got back at 12. I expect them to make the playoffs again. I don't know. Everyone's down on them. I'm not too happy about the coaching on offense either, but I got to think that he's got a better stranglehold, better leadership of the offense, and that he can overcome the deficiencies in the loss at the offensive coordinator position. I
think one thing that's evident, we're always going to be supporting our guys. I've loved Daniel Jones for years now. You like Mac Jones. You're going to support your guys. I respect that. And at the end of the day, as I said, the beauty of this is that no one knows who's going to be performing where this year. And that's the beauty of this. So you can have these conversations, these arguments, these debates. But I think one thing about Mac, though, is right now, I know we're basing this off of where we think guys are going to perform at the end of this season, where they're going to stand. But I think Mac Jones right now would probably be like 18 for me. But I think he has
He was a playoff
20.
Quarterback. I mean, you have to define success as, in the NFL, if your quarterback can lead your team to the playoffs, even if it's a run-heavy team, even if it's a strong defensive team, that's, the guy he doesn't lose you the game.
But it's not always that, though. Herbert didn't make the playoffs last year, though, and he's, obviously in our top 7s or whatever it is, top 8.
Because he's got eye-popping stats, and when you watch him play, I mean, he's chucking the ball all over the place. I think the coaching holds him back. That's the head coach.
Yeah,
when the head coach chose to go for it on fourth down, that's where the decision comes from. It's tough to hold it against the quarterback when the defense comes up with a stop on a low percentage type of play.
I'm with you. I don't disagree with that point. All right, so I can.
And then their defense has never been that physical. They've tooled up there, right? They got Khalil Mack coming in.
Yeah, Khalil Mack, J.C. Jackson, two great pickups. Joey Bosa's there still, and
overpaid Derwin James.
That's a lot of money. Highest paid safety in the NFL, but I like Derwin.
But whatever.
I like Derwin. So yeah, I agree with you. I think Mac Jones. I think the coaching is my worry about it. I don't even think people are overrating Kendrick Bourne, talking about him like he's Calvin Johnson or something. He's good, but he's not a wide receiver 1. He's not a wide receiver 1.
I think the good thing about the passing attack is that you don't need to have a guy who's Calvin Johnson. Like, every guy is probably more or less an average receiver. If not, a couple of them probably below average.
I like Thornton, but he's out for some games. That's a guy that I thought could have been a star, maybe.
But I'm not depending on a rookie to come in and steal the show. I mean, it'd be awesome if he does, but I don't know a ton about him. I'll learn stuff about him when I watch the games. He had that nice little touchdown in the preseason, but he was going against, I don't even know. You probably don't even
know. The Giants. It was touchdown on. Aaron Robinson, Giants, actual cornerback 2. He's a CB2. Adoree Jackson, CB1. He's CB2. His Giants starters were in that game in the first quarter when he scored.
I mean, it was a nice little run. You fake inside and then goes back outside.
Robinson's been struggling too, so, I guess it's not the hardest targeting.
I got to hope that Jonnu Smith is better than last. He was horrible.
Jonnu Smith,
I hope he's better than last year, even if he's just, an average tight end.
Mm-hmm. I'm with you there.
Henry, as long as he repeats what he did, decent third down guy, good red zone guy, that's good. The running game's solid. The offensive line should be better, personnel-wise. They even drafted that first-round kid.
Cole Strange.
Brown.
Yeah.
And then, just Bourne, Aguilar, Myers all year, too, with Jones. They got to be putting in work together, getting on the same page a little more.
Yeah, I think the pages are filled with... I'm hoping
that he can just audible at the line of scrimmage to plays he wants to do.
I think he should have that freedom, especially considering Joe Judge and Matt Patricia don't know anything about the quarterback position, really. Not enough, at least. They didn't help out their quarterbacks. And obviously Detroit held back Matt Stafford and obviously helped Daniel Jones regress with Joe Judge. But I think one thing with those guys on the Patriots receiving core is that I think they have a lot of wide receiver 2s and 3s. They're all in between the 2 and 3 range, and I think that's a worry. I think it's a worry. I do. But that's just
because
me.
think about it this way. You know, when a guy is always used to throwing to his number one target, and it's like his binky, if that guy gets taken away, sometimes they go, oh, now what do I do? But if everyone's kind of the same, it's just whose game is it today, who's got the matchup, it's a game of matchups.
Mm-hmm. I'm with you there. I get that.
So if it's Myers in the slot or, whatever, just if they can move the ball with one guy or two guys any given game and then convert some touchdowns that they weren't converting last year. I mean, it took until midway through the season for them to really let Mac Jones start slinging it into the end zone.
Yeah, I'm with you there. They now have to give him the freedom to do that again, though.
Hey, it's one play against, I don't even know, probably second stringers, but play down the sideline, 45 yards. You just need the threat of the long ball. You don't need to actually chuck it up, through the goalpost every time.
I'm with you. All right, so you got him at 12. I got Daniel Jones at
12. Plus, he made the playoffs. Come on. I got Stafford 13, so that's way down there. I'm thinking that just a natural regression. I mean,
yeah, I got
that Rams team seems like a team that went all out to win it. Wait, didn't he lead the league in picks last year?
He did.
He makes mistakes too. Cooper Kupp's awesome. No Woods. I know they got that guy off the Bears, but everyone talks about Allen Robinson like he's from 5 years ago when he was lighting it up. I don't know what he's like on a good team.
I don't think he's I don't think he's that bad that what he was last year, but I still don't have that much confidence in him.
Did they lose a lineman? That tackle retired, right?
Yes, they lost Andrew Whitworth. Whitworth, yeah, he retired.
So he's gone. The running back who they like is coming off like an Achilles.
Cam Akers, he's pretty good. Yep. He's pretty good. And then obviously have Henderson.
I got him at 13, and that would be him having a pretty bad year considering.
Darrell Henderson, he's pretty good too. But yeah, and then Cooper Kupp.
Yeah, I don't have them winning the division again.
I don't know if I do.
That's a tough division, right? The Rams?
Yes, it is a tough division.
So
Rams 9 is Cardinals.
And like you said, he's banged up with that elbow.
Yeah, I have him at 11, I think. But yeah, I think he has a rougher season than he did last year.
He put it all out there to win the Super Bowl. I mean,
that's probably why he has an injury. He's airing it out probably with it. Probably made it worse.
Maybe celebrating.
Probably too. Part of it, like Brady always is celebrating. But yeah, I get that.
Shake
so
those champagne bottles, I guess.
I respect that.
Yeah, I got him at 13. I mean, he could easily be a top 10 guy.
Mm-hmm.
Then I got Trevor Lawrence, 14.
All right. I mean, I got my boy Daniel Jones in my top.
A big bounce. I think there's only up for him to go.
I respect that.
Hopefully, better coaching, better roster around him, a little bit better. I mean, I don't think he's going to be winning a Super Bowl, probably not even making the playoffs, but I think from a performance standpoint, you could see him having like a Herbert year.
A good step up. Yeah,
coming on
I
the
think
scene,
he could.
Flashing with the arm.
Yeah, I respect that.
I mean, he's 6'6", got a gun, can run.
We saw it in person at BC 2018.
It's unbelievable.
Or 2017 it was.
And he's got his boy ETN coming back. They've got a good rapport together. So.
That game was in November 2018, I believe, or 17. It was 18. It was my senior year of high school, I think, 2018.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'm with you there. I like Trevor Lawrence. I don't have him that high, but that's only just because of the situation.
Reach back. I put him up there as a huge reach.
But hey, part of this is, which people could probably understand this probably by now, some of these are hot takes, and that's what this is about. We got to have some hot takes. Got to stretch on some guys for the
And I think the guys
for the conversation.
He was the number one pick last year, possibly the greatest, quarterback prospect in the 21st century, maybe ever. I mean,
yeah, he was definitely highly touted.
He's accomplished
Since 7th grade.
Perfect season.
Since 7th grade, everyone knew he was going to be. Everyone knew he was going to be the number one pick in the draft, the number one recruit in college. Everyone knew, like you said, high school football.
He unseated, who was the guy? The Clemson quarterback there right away.
Kelly Bryant. Kelly Bryant. Yeah. I liked Kelly Bryant.
He was the first one as a freshman to take a team 15-0 in college football.
He did. Took over Kelly Bryant. Kelly Bryant's pretty good, too.
If there's anyone who can break some ground, it's going to be Trev.
I respect that.
Bombs, as I call him affectionately.
I like him.
So I got him there, 14. Kyler Murray, 15.
Both of us 15 there.
Honestly, I'd put him lower if I could. I don't know. Talk about it. Rough off season for him. I don't think you could give him better receivers than he's had. So it doesn't matter who he gets.
Added Marquise Brown, obviously losing DeAndre Hopkins.
He down every year. It's him scampering around through the first 8 weeks, then the final 8 weeks, they're slipping in the standings. And didn't he got bullied in that playoff game?
He did. But if you look at it,
belong on the field.
They're losing DeAndre Hopkins for 6 games, I believe, with the suspension. And then also, it's every year he starts hot, and then they're all talking about, he's the best quarterback in fantasy and everything and all that, first couple games.
Fantasy is one thing because he runs. I mean, running quarterbacks do well in fantasy. Everyone knows that because you're running and that's for more points. But the other thing is he just got this he carries himself like he's Tom Brady, and he hardly won anything. He thinks he's the best thing ever. I mean, I know he can throw it 80 yards downfield just flicking the wrist, but he's a small guy. He depends on those legs, and when he takes a few hits, it wears on him. And then by the second half of the year, he can't do it. And his coach, he's just like a college coach. He's a gimmick guy. I don't know.
I'm with you there. I respect that ranking.
I think that guy's had a losing record everywhere he's been, right?
Just about.
Maybe in the pros he's a winning record, but
probably. I mean, it's tough the position you're in.
I got him at 15. I don't think they're making the playoffs.
I think one year the Cardinals had a positive record, right? Weren't they in the playoffs once?
I mean, they made the playoffs.
Yeah, this year exactly. Yeah, so this year, but
they definitely.
Yeah, you're saying his first year in 2019. Yeah, they weren't good, and then 2020 weren't good either. Really, they choked in 2020. They choked.
You depend on the running around.
They choked in 2020. Remember they were unreal.
And he's a small guy.
2020 they choked. They were hard at the start, like 6-2 or whatever, and then just choked.
Yeah, I think they lost to the Patriots.
Yeah, they did. They choked heavily.
They lost to the Cam Newton Patriots. So
yeah, it's a tough team to lose to. So yeah, we both got him at 15. So neither one of us are that high.
I got him at 15. I mean, he made the playoffs, right? So
yeah,
but I don't think he's making it this year.
I don't think so either.
So I got him 15. Kirk Cousins 16. I think you had him near there.
14.
I don't think he's worth talking about. He's just such a bland guy.
But he has good numbers. 14. I respect it.
He's got great receivers. I don't know.
Adam Thielen and Justin Jefferson, 2 elite, and then Dalvin Cook, running back.
Running back beasts.
Absolutely, it's not a bad offense there to be a quarterback of.
Nope, I think other guys would do much better, and he's probably overpaid. But
he is overpaid.
Jalen Hurts.
Okay, I had him 19. You had him 16, Jalen Hurts?
So I got 17.
17, okay, I got him 19. Shout out to
another guy kind of runs around too much, but they got him shiny new toy.
They did.
So A.J. Brown, Devonta
Smith. Obviously, Miles Sanders.
I don't understand that Philly offense. I don't know. Maybe we got to get a
Easy
Philly fan on here sometime. But
Easy
every time you watch the games, it's like he's rolling out right. Baker Mayfield does the same thing. These guys coming out of college, they're used to running that way and chucking it.
Yeah, mobile quarterbacks.
Maybe they watch too much Mahomes or something. I don't know.
But he had a good year last year. 3,100 passing yards, 16 touchdowns, 9 picks, 784 rushing yards, and 10 rushing touchdowns.
The thing I like about him is he wins. Like in college, he was a winner at Bama. He won at Oklahoma. He's won a good amount of games in the NFL too. So
good quarterback. 19th. I have 19th. You have 17th. I mean, I think he's gonna have a decent year.
He does some things above average with the legs. He's fairly average with the arm.
Not the best.
If he improved his decision making, he'd be better. He's got some good weapons though.
10 rushing touchdowns too. Impressive. He can move.
So he's got A.J. Brown, Goddard, and Devonta Smith.
Miles Sanders is the back.
Yeah,
decent.
I mean, he's just a guy.
Sanders banged up.
He's just a running back. They'll have a new running back in there.
Boston Scott, baby, kills the Giants always, but he's always decent.
Some undrafted guy will do just fine.
Hey, Jalen Reagor.
That guy's terrible.
Yeah, he's not great. But
so I got Hurts, Tannehill.
Tannehill
at 18. I don't know where you had him. I just think they've been losing pieces.
I have Tannehill very low.
Henry was banged up. But Tannehill, I don't know. He's just like your average guy. He can do well on a good team. He doesn't lose you too many games, but I don't know. Sometimes he does throw a pick.
Right now, I probably have Tannehill around 20.
He doesn't do much to put you over the top. He's good in play action.
Yeah, he doesn't do anything to wow you, but I think I probably have him at 20 right now, and this is based on when we think guys are going to perform for the season. So right now, my standings, Daniel Jones probably be about 16 or 17 where I feel like they are, truly. Even though his numbers obviously don't match what the 16th quarterback is on my list, I think right now I think put Daniel Jones 16, 17, 18, probably in that range of where I would rank him at quarterbacks. Tannehill, probably 20th, and I have him lower based on what I think he's going to do by the end of the season. Right now, he's probably 20, but keep going.
Yeah, so I got him 18. I got Tua at 19. I could easily see Tua being ahead of Kyler Murray.
I think Tua's
He's got a good roster around him. I mean, they seem to always be the Patriots with him behind, under center there. But
he's good.
It's just another guy where I think a little smaller, left hand, gimmicky, kind of runs around and gets hit. I feel like he gets hit. Last year he threw that pick to the Pats, but he's running around for his life, and then Judon took his head off.
He did. Yeah, he got popped.
He got banged up bad in college, right? He had like a dislocated hip. I mean,
the hip and the ankle. He had a couple ankle injuries and a hip injury.
I remember seeing that. It was a graphic.
It was.
His face was all bloody because his helmet against Mississippi State.
Mississippi State, it was, I believe. Yeah, he got a couple bad games. I think Arkansas got hurt against once too.
It was called Tank for Tua until
Burrow
came along. So
62 touchdowns.
Yeah, I don't know. And then within the division, I mean, he's not better than Josh Allen. And, I mean, Mac Jones made the playoffs, so
Yeah.
we'll see week one. But Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle, decent little offense.
That's a solid duo there. Solid duo.
It's a solid duo, but you do need the right guy to get them the ball.
You're right, though. The tank for two, I think, was real. But I said 62 touchdowns at Barry at 60 his senior year. So 60 passing, 5 rushing. 65 touchdowns.
Yeah, 60
Nuts.
in 15 games.
Nuts.
Yeah.
But you're right. It was tank for two.
Here's the one. Number 20. General Mills.
General Mills,
the
baby.
Texans.
I got him in.
I got no reason not to
there.
put him here. I mean, I think he had a horrendous team last year. But just from watching him, pretty good, solid quarterback. He's got the size, makes the throws. I don't know who he's really got around him aside from Cooks, but to be the 20th ranked quarterback in the NFL, I think if he plays the full year, no reason he can't be the 20th.
Yeah, I like Brandon Cooks.
Because
Had
the
a good year
bottom
from
third is
last
just going
year.
to be garbage.
Yes, that's the thing. I think if you look at it, though, he had a good year last year, which I'll tell you his stats really quick.
Because he had no expectations.
None, and he stepped in. Was pretty good.
Was he a
Third
fourth
round
round?
pick. Third round pick.
Yeah.
But in 13 games, 2,600 passing yards, 16 touchdowns, 10 picks, and a 67% completion percentage. So decent year from last year, especially considering what he had around him, and hopefully has a good year this year.
Yeah, he's going to be good. I mean, he'll be solid. I think second-year player, you can only expect him to take steps forward, right? So
Yeah, I
but
agree with that.
number 20, I'll just go right into my 21 through 32 here. So
Okay.
I'm going to rip them all off. I got Baker Mayfield, Carson Wentz, Trey Lance, then I got Goff, Zach Wilson, Daniel Jones, number 26.
Oh, 3 of my boys in a row there. Zach Wilson,
Mitch
Goff, and
Trubisky,
Daniel.
27. I mean, this is garbage shoot here. Trubisky, 27. Mariota, 28. Justin Fields, 29. Poor kid has a horrible team.
Yeah.
Brissett at 30 because he's probably not going to get a full year. And I don't know.
Deshaun Watson
He's
probably
kind
playing
of
by
a journeyman
week
at
12.
this point. Then I got Winston, 31. I think you already mentioned him.
Yes, he's my 20th.
And then Tank Commander Geno Smith,
32, Gino?
32.
Okay.
Seahawks are going for the old 2-14 season.
They're going for the first pick, baby. Why not? It's a rebuild. But, all right, so my 21 through 32, Trey Lance, 21. I think he's the biggest question mark out of all these guys, but he can run the ball, pass the ball, look decent in the preseason games he's played in now. I have him at 21. I think, obviously, has Deebo Samuel, has George Kittle, has a ton around him in that offense, and has Mike Shanahan. So that's a lot around him to help him succeed. I have him at 21. Obviously, he wasn't ready last year.
Mike Shanahan's retired, right? You mean Kyle?
Kyle Shanahan, you're right. Mike's the father, right?
But I know that Mike actually helps with the game.
That was his dad, though, right? Yeah, so Kyle.
Yeah, it is his dad.
Yeah.
But he goes through game film with him still. He's
Yes, Kyle Shanahan, you're exactly right. Kyle Shanahan, obviously being in that system with him and help him out. And then obviously, he wasn't ready last year, and that's why Jimmy G was in there. But I got him at 21, 22, Davis Mills, right around the same era you had him. Big fan of Davis Mills. We're both talking about him. I think he's going to have a good year. 23, Carson Wentz. I think had a decent year last year, 27 touchdowns, 7 picks. I think obviously
on a great team where we think that Matty Ice is going to be a top 10 guy. So.
Exactly. Frank Reich obviously was a big reason he had a 27 touchdown season. And obviously, hey, if they thought he was good, they would have kept him. If they thought they could have won a Super Bowl with him. So they traded him. They didn't think it. Exactly. They weren't going to lose
They
him.
missed the playoffs.
Yeah, because they lost that game to Jacksonville.
Offensive line, top rushing attack in the league. And
Week 18. They lost to Jacksonville that last game of the year, and that's what killed them. But so I got 24. Speaking of Jacksonville, Trevor Lawrence. And I think with Trevor Lawrence, this is 24 based off what he has. I think next season at this time, when we redo this probably, I think he's around 15. I think right now, though, one more year of rebuilding the stuff around him. I don't think Christian Kirk's really a wide receiver one. They paid him like a wide receiver one at $21 million a year. He's not a wide receiver one, in my opinion, or 23 a year, whatever he got.
No, he probably isn't.
He's not a wide receiver one. Evan Ingram.
Again, though, I don't think you need
Evan Ingram's not great
to have a decent receiving core.
But has Peterson, the former head coach with the Philadelphia Eagles.
As Super Bowl champ.
Exactly. Pretty solid head coach, Doug Peterson. And then you look at what he has, running backs, Travis Etienne coming off that injury last year, and now is technically his rookie season, even though it's a second year, and then James Robinson. So I think he has good stuff around him.
Also an injury, though, right? So he's going to be...
He's missing some games, too, I think. Maybe the first couple, probably. But as of now...
I think the big improvement for the offense is... Hopefully the line's a little better, right? Didn't they?
They got offensive linemen, and then they also got Trayvon Walker on defense. So maybe the defense is better. It helps, honestly, all
their
around.
defensive line was actually a little underrated.
Josh Allen.
Guy, he's solid. Didn't they beat the Bills?
They did beat the Bills. They beat the Bills middle of November, first week of November.
Beat the Bills, beat the Colts. I mean, I think
Giants beat the Raiders that day. Patriots beat the Panthers that day. I know that because Mark Walsh's birthday.
so. I got Lawrence up there just simply because I think he's a great talent.
I respect that. I got him 24 just because of what I think he has around him, but I think he can have a good year. I would not be surprised if Trevor Lawrence is a top 15 to 17 quarterback this year. I would not be. Now, here's the thing. This is where you're going to get mad.
If I'm starting a team, I'm taking Trevor Lawrence.
I respect that. I know you've always been a big fan of him. We saw him in person, too, at BC, so that plays a role. But what number did you have Daniel Jones at?
I had him 26.
Mac Jones, 25. And here's the thing.
Okay.
So I had Daniel Jones at 12. You had Mac Jones at 12. I have Mac Jones at 25. You had Daniel Jones at 26. So pretty much flip-flop.
I put your boy Zach Wilson at 25. I could easily have had Jones maybe at the highest he could probably go is maybe 23.
Okay.
Instead of Trey Lance.
I'm
giving Trey Lance the unproven commodity an edge.
Yes. I think if I maybe, analyzed a little more, because I did this, I did enough analysis here, but if I'm analyzing...
Once you get past the top 10, you rifle them through them.
Exactly. I think if I, read over this 1,000 times, I'd probably start flipping guys more. You know what I mean? But as of now, that's where I had Mac Jones, 25. As I said, I don't like the situation around him. Joe Judge, Matt Patricia, I don't think they have a wide receiver 1. Kendrick Bourne, not a wide receiver 1. Nelson Aguilar, not a wide receiver 1. Tyquan Thornton, I think he's good, not a wide receiver 1, even if he's healthy. And then the other guy is, who's the other receiver?
But his ceiling probably is.
Jacoby Myers, not a wide receiver 1. Yeah, I get that. But, so I have him at 25.
Would you consider Julian Edelman or Wes Welker wide receiver 1s?
No, but in that system, they were wide receiver 1s. So
volume. I mean, they were both like 100 catch per season guys.
Here's the thing, though.
I don't care if the guy has 35 touchdowns. I just want the guy to catch the ball and move the change.
This is not an indictment on Mac Jones, though. This is an indictment on Matt Patricia and Joe Judge. I think Mac Jones, good kid. I liked him at Alabama, like we've talked about. I still even give him credit. He had a great throw the other night in preseason. I know you don't like Daniel Jones. I did call him Mac Attack. You never give Daniel Jones credit at all. I still give Mac Jones some credit, obviously. You don't give Daniel Jones any.
Well,
so
I think Daniel Jones is on a terrible team that has poor draft strategy.
He does. Yeah, they do indeed have that. He doesn't really have much around him.
I mean, the Patriots have pretty poor draft strategy, too. It's just like, we do have Bill Belichick.
It does help. It does help. But yeah, so I have Mac Jones 25. Ryan Tannehill 26.
So committed to undo his mistakes, he might have poor drafting, but he's going to...
He also hires Joe Judge and Matt Patricia. I mean, I don't know if he's losing control.
Because they're getting paid by other teams.
True. Yeah, you're right. It's low deals. That's why he's not named off the quarterback.
2-6, 98.5. They talk about it 24.
All day, baby. Felger and Maz. All day. We love them, though.
The gift that keeps on giving.
You got me into it more, though. I listen to it every now and then, growing up, but, for the past 5 years. But you got me into it.
Yeah.
Because they've been on the air for years now, but I was used to listening to EEI a lot more, but I like them at 98.5. So 26, I got Ryan Tannehill, which I think he has a down year. He did have a great year last year.
You could be right. The bottom could fall out on him. I mean, he was kicked out of freaking Miami. So.
I think he's regressing, and I think if you look at his numbers last year, 21 touchdowns, 14 picks, 270 rushing yards, 7 rushing touchdowns, 67% completion percentage. So not the best season for him. I know he's better a couple years ago, and like you said before, anything could happen. I mean, the top could fall off on him, and he could have a bad year. Going into year 10 in the NFL, 4th year now with the Titans, after spending the previous 6 years with the Miami Dolphins. I always was a big fan of him. I always called him Tanner God, but not that high on him this year. I think he has a down year.
I mean, it's a run-first offense. He's just a guy who makes play-action passes and hopefully doesn't turn it over. But he said 14 picks last year. It's not great.
No, it was not. He had a down year. Didn't play great, obviously, in that playoff game either. So I have him at 26, 27, I got Baker Mayfield, 28, Justin Fields. You said bad team around him, not his fault.
So you got Baker pretty well. I got
27.
Him low, 21.
I got 27.
He's the starter, right? I mean,
but the reason I have him at 27, they did just announce he's the starting quarterback. But the reason I have him at 27, I think Sam Darnold takes that job at some point. So I have him at 27. I've always been a big Darnold guy.
If Darnold takes the job, he would still rank exactly where Baker Mayfield ranks.
Okay, I respect that. I would say probably around 22 or 23 right now.
I think
I like Darnold.
Neither guy is going to give much more than the other. I actually would start Baker over Darnold because he's stayed upright more.
Winning, too. Wins more games, but it's not his fault.
He's a little bit more of a winner, yeah.
Not Darnold's fault.
I think he brings a little bit better edge. I mean, for what it's worth. Hopefully he's got that chip on his shoulder.
Doesn't have much around him, though. That's the problem, Donald. Never really did. But I have Donald.
They got DJ Moore. They
probably
got
23.
McCaffrey.
They got McCaffrey, DJ Moore. They have
a pretty irrelevant team.
I mean, they don't have much around them.
I mean, that division is the Bucs and nobody else.
They did take a Kemakwanu though. starting offensive tackle from NC State, 6th in the draft, very good. That's a great pickup there. DJ Moore's really good. Robbie Anderson they have as well. No, you're a big Robbie Anderson guy.
I'm not a Robbie Anderson guy.
You are not a Robbie Anderson guy. You've never been, though. You've never been a Robbie Anderson guy, even when he's pretty good. So
something about him I just don't like.
Not a fan. I know you've never been a fan of him, even when he had some good games in the Jets. So I would have probably down around 22 or 23, but I have Baker 26, Justin Fields 28. I had Baker 27, but Justin Fields 28, bad team around him. Mitch Trubisky 29. I think Mitch, the thing with him is he has Najee Harris, so the ball's going to be moving down the field at least. So he's probably going to throw a couple
I think Mitch might be getting yanked too for Pickett, maybe.
Probably at some point.
I think.
30, Geno Smith. I know you have 32. I think he's okay. I mean, I think he's good. He's not going to be good. I'll tell you that.
Really, what's the difference, 30 and 32?
That's right. You're not wrong. But he's got experience. Year 9 in the NFL now, second year with Seattle.
Yeah,
3 starts last year. 5 touchdowns, 1 pick, though. 68% completion percentage last year with a rushing touchdown. So 6 touchdowns in 3 starts last year. Pretty good. It's not bad.
He's going to be getting his jaw broken again behind that line.
So, yeah, I mean, he's not going to have a tremendous year, but I have him as the 3rd worst.
He's set up to fail.
He is, but he's a bridge quarterback till they draft, 1st overall next year, probably a 2nd overall, and try to get Bryce Young, C.J. Stroud, one of those guys. Phil Jakovic, your boy, you never know. 31, Marcus Mariota, not very high on him, and then 32, Jacoby Brissett. So, and Brissett, I mean, he's not a bad backup. Brissett's okay.
See, I have Brissett ahead of Winston and Geno just because I think he's a little bit better version as a backup.
He had 5 touchdowns, 4 picks in 11 games last year for Miami with the rushing touchdown, 70 rushing yards. He can move a little, but not as much as he used to, I guess, with the Patriots.
Yeah, I mean, you got to think he's going to have a little more help being the starting quarterback.
Definitely. I think he'd have
right? I mean, they got to actually give him
Jarvis Landry.
Invest in the guy.
Jarvis Landry left. Landry's on the Saints now, but he picked up Amari Cooper. That's who the Browns got now.
Okay.
Amari Cooper.
I mean, he's got that great offensive line, though. I mean, that alone should keep him.
And Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt.
If Hunt is there, yeah. But I'm just saying behind the line. You're like, he's not getting hit as much as Geno is going to be getting hit, or Winston, or Fields is going to be getting drilled.
You're right.
Even Trubisky's he's got a bad line. I don't know much about the Saints.
Saints have a decent offensive line.
Playing on the Falcons, they had a pretty bad line.
Yes, Falcons have had the worst. If you saw that Thursday night game last year, Matt Ryan get killed every play. We were watching that game together. I felt bad for Matt Ryan against the Patriots. He was getting puffed. It wasn't his fault either. He was throwing the ball pretty much dimes to guys. They were dropping them, but he was getting killed before he could even get it out. But one guy...
these are guys we just feel bad for. It's not even about stats. It's just like...
tough situations. Mariota's going to have a tough situation now with Atlanta, though he's a mobile quarterback, so he can move more than Matt Ryan. The one you got to feel bad for
is Fields, because they drafted him so high, but he's just got nothing to stand behind.
Yeah.
If anyone is an approximation of the Daniel Jones situation, it's probably Fields.
He had 7 touchdowns, 10 picks last year. Not a good game. Not a good year.
Got no protection.
Didn't have too many good games last year, though. 10 interceptions, 7 touchdowns in 12 games. 2 rushing touchdowns, 1,800 passing yards, 420 rushing yards. Fields, yeah. I was going to say, he didn't have too many great games. He didn't have much around him to help him. So
he's a big guy, though. Like, he takes some hits.
He's a good arm, too. He's a good arm.
Yeah,
but he doesn't have a good situation. And another guy, Mariota, surprising he's going to his 8th year in the NFL. Now his first season with Atlanta. Obviously, he hasn't started since 2019. Dude, he hasn't started since 2019. 2-4 record in 2019, 7 touchdowns, 2 picks before they handed off that job, the Tennessee Titans starting job, to Tanner God. But 2-year backup now with the Raiders. Last time playing the game was 2020, so he's not in a good situation either. 17 to 28 in that game.
He just does not have the throwing.
Touchdown, 226 passing yards with an interception in that game he played in 2020 with the Raiders. So, yeah, he's not going to be in a great situation. I got him at 31, and then Brissett, 32. So, there we go. There's our 1 through 32.
Nothing more to talk about those guys. I think, to note, Garoppolo, if he plays, I think he's a 15th ranked quarterback.
I got him in
the Kyler Murray spot.
I had him, I think, 16 when I was doing it, which I think
no matter where
out of my original list. I think I had Goff, but him in front of Goff.
Should be keeping him. They should keep him, but they won't, right?
They won't. I mean, imagine Lance gets hurt, though. That would be not a bad situation.
That's what I'm saying. I mean, he's a guy who runs around if he gets hit.
Deebo Samuel would probably get banged up a little this year too. I think he's going to get hurt, but he's going to get hit pretty hard with all those end arounds and stuff. So they got to be careful getting Lance hurt or Samuel hurt, because if Samuel gets hurt, Lance is going to have a tough time out there. He's only going to really have.
And you know how their running backs get hurt every year.
Every year, but they draft though.
It goes through about 6 running backs a year, and they're all good. So
Elijah Mitchell, Eli Mitchell, as you said last year, he's pretty good. He's pretty good, but
it's also just proof you don't need to draft Saquon Barkley. You can pick up 6 undrafted guys. I mean, these running backs are all in good shape. They're going to be fine.
We're talking Trevor Lawrence, though, is the most highly touted quarterback prospect. Saquon Barkley in the 21st century, besides if you want to say Reggie Bush, was the most highly touted running back prospect coming out of college. So
absolutely.
I understand drafting him at second overall, and I would do it all over again. 150% all over again, take him at 2, and I would take Daniel Jones at 6 all over again. 100% both of those. Ghetto God drilled both of those picks just to not surround them with enough help. Didn't. Would you feel bad for Daniel Jones, you said?
Yeah, I mean, he's got a tough situation. He's been in the league almost too long. He's probably going to end up I don't want to go too harsh on the guy, but I think he's going to have to land on his feet somewhere else.
Yeah, I think he'll probably...
Because look at it. How many coaches do you go through before you get rid of the quarterback?
3 head coaches, and if
you know what?
fourth offensive coordinator, second
end
GM.
up somewhere else too. Most running backs do, right? It's just
they leave somewhere else. I mean, they don't usually get paid by the.
Todd Gurley, you could say, is kind of like a Saquon-ish guy, like all-star of his team. And then he becomes a journeyman.
Yeah, Gurley had the injuries though before he got to the NFL with that.
Yeah, the injuries, but now Saquon's in the
Saquon didn't have that.
Too.
He didn't have that.
But he's got the injuries now. He's an injury guy.
Not at Penn State. That's why he's a reliable pick at number 2. He did not have injuries at Penn State.
But he is now marked as an injury. He's been dinged up. He's torn his ACL.
He has, but it's not his fault. No offensive line help there.
I don't think any guy tries to tear their ACL on purpose. It's just you take hits.
But that's the thing, though. He got 3 straight rushes against the Bears, and that's how or I think it was 2 straight rushes at least, right up the middle. And that's a good Bears defense, even though they don't have a great record then and believes in 2020.
He does try to bounce it outside.
Roquan Smith.
You got to say,
Khalil
he does try
Mack,
to bounce it outside a little too much.
Eddie Goldman.
Sometimes you just got to lower the head, take the 3 yards.
They had a pretty good defensive line. Eddie Goldman, Khalil Mack, Roquan Smith, Danny Trevathan is there. I mean, you don't want to run the ball up the middle 2 or 3 straight plays against those guys, especially when you're getting no yards. That's how he got hurt. And then ran to the outside and then ended up getting, tackled or whatever and kind of pushed. And obviously the injury happened. But you don't want to run the ball against that Bears ferocious defensive line with Khalil Mack that much. It's not Daniel Jones' fault. It's not Saquon Barkley's fault. So that's just how
if he's so good, he should be able to give his own.
It's not his fault. But so notable backups, you said Jimmy G.
They'd have no problem giving the ball to Lynch 3 times in a row.
They didn't give him it in the Super Bowl.
That's true, but hey.
Not against the Patriots in 2015.
They gave it to him on first down. People forget.
What was that Super Bowl in the 2015 year, right? So, what can you do? 2015 was that Patriots Seahawks Super Bowl?
Yeah, it was the 2014 season. Yeah.
2014 season, 2015 Super Bowl. That was, yeah. But anyways, so notable backups. You had Jimmy G. I think one guy to keep your eye on, and this is if Baker Mayfield, messes up something. I think Sam Darnold has a chance of being the starting quarterback at some point, especially considering both those guys are very similar. In similar situations, both in limbo, I guess, in their career. I think he's a guy to keep your eye on. And then another guy, which I think obviously Jimmy G, that's a notable one. I think everyone's going to have their eye on him. I think Drew Lock, maybe keep your eye on him, especially if Geno Smith messes up. I think Drew Lock's decent. I think he's okay. Not decent. I wouldn't say decent. He's okay. He's
going to a worse team than he was at before, and he was already doing pretty bad.
I don't know, though. He showed some flashes, though, every
now and then. He's going to have to get in the game because Geno's going to be getting hit like a punching bag.
He is. He is going to be getting hit. But if you look at what he did in 2020, 16 touchdowns, 15 picks. As a rookie, 7 touchdowns, 3 picks in 2019 with the Broncos. And then last year, 2 touchdowns, 2 picks with the Broncos for Drew Lock. But as a rookie, there showed some promise. 7 touchdowns, 3 picks, and then 16 touchdowns, 15 picks. And the 15 picks was just bad decision-making. And obviously, he still has that issue. So I think he's probably going to get a chance, and I'll be rooting for him. I don't never want to see a guy, especially considering when they're in a tough situation, I never want to see a guy fail when they're an underdog. So hopefully he gets a chance. But who's another guy to keep your eye on, in your opinion? You got Jimmy G.
I feel like, if we're looking at rookies, you got Pickett and Desmond Ridder.
And Malik Willis.
So Pickett's the kid for the Steelers.
Yep.
You got to figure that team wants to eventually get him in there.
Yep.
I think if they're out of playoff contention, he probably gets a few starts. And then, obviously, if Trubisky gets hurt, which he could be prone to do,
they know
get him
injuries.
in
there.
The Steelers, they're kind of like they're a successful franchise. They don't seem like the type of team that's going to be happy going 2-15, letting that top quarterback pick sit on the bench. They'll probably get him in there, see if he can mix it up.
Definitely. And they've had a lot of injuries, the Steelers, over the last few years. So you never know if
their offensive line
Trubisky gets hurt. Great. I was going to say, though, Najee, I don't think he got hurt last year, but Big Ben got hurt a couple of years ago. Mason Rudolph even got a little banged up a little bit. Duck Hodges was in there, when Rudolph was hurt a few years ago. And then also Juju got hurt last year. So they haven't had really great luck.
Rudolph had the thing with the guy, what's his name there?
Myles Garrett.
Banged him off the head with a helmet.
Yeah.
That's not exactly a football play.
Took him out. Hey, speaking of Desmond Ridder, at halftime right now, 10-13 with 143 passing yards for the Falcons. So,
and he was on the Cincinnati Bearcats team that made a great run last year.
College football playoff run, yeah. Obviously lost to Bama, but still made a nice run.
Yeah, got smoked, yeah. I don't know. I mean, he's probably – they want him to get in there. He'll probably start some games.
So you got Ritter, Pickett to keep your eye on, obviously Jimmy G. And then who I got Donald, Drew Lock, Heineke, though you didn't mention for yourself.
Heineke, I got him in there. I think he could be
Heineke
21st best if he plays most of the year.
Okay. I think if Donald plays most of the year, I think he's 22, 23. I like Donald. And I think Drew Lock probably be like 27, 28. Probably still around where Geno is, but I think he's okay.
Heineke gave Brady and the Bucs a run for their money that year.
The Bucs?
No, in the playoff game, divisional round.
What team is that, you said?
He was on the Redskins at the time, and they played
Heineke,
Brady
you're talking,
and the Bucs.
Yes.
Yeah.
I thought you meant Drew Lock, because I said Drew Lock.
He had that nasty touchdown where he evades the sack and runs down the sideline and dove.
He had a great play. He looked good. He was a rookie, right?
He dislocated his shoulder on the play or something.
Still stayed in, though. Yeah, he was a beast that game. The Bucs, they almost beat them. It was a one-possession game, 20-15 or something like that.
Yeah, that was the closest game the Bucs had all playoffs.
Yeah, I think it was 20-15 if I remember right.
Yeah.
Which I can check it right now really quick. But I like Heineke.
Tyrod Taylor's going to be getting a lot of games.
No way. Tyrod ain't getting in. It was 31-23 was the game. So I said 5-point game, 20-15. No, it wasn't that.
One-score game.
31-23. It was one score, though. Your boy McLaurin had a decent game that game. 6 catches, 75 yards. Good game for him. Heineke, 26-44, 306 yards. Passing with the touchdown, interception, and 6 carries for 46 yards and a touchdown. He had a good game that game. But I think if you look at it, though, I don't know. If he started the whole season, I'd probably have him like 25, Heineke maybe, 26. Donald's probably 23. And then another guy, like you said, Desmond Ridder, I mean, maybe he gets a chance. I'd probably have him probably in that lower 3 too. But that's just because Atlanta has nothing around them. Who knows who they do. And you said Tyrod Taylor. I don't know. I don't see that at all.
No, I got Taylor at 20. Tyrod at 26. I think if he starts the whole year, he does just as well as Daniel Jones.
Okay.
Maybe a little less on the stats, but I think the team finishes.
I would probably put him 25 if he started the whole year. Maybe 23, 24.
It's high.
25. Probably 25. 25 probably, actually. Pickett, probably 25 as well. I don't think he's going to really be too wowie, rookie quarterback.
At 23, I put Trey Lance.
Where do you think if, let's say, Jameis Winston isn't the starting quarterback, where would you put Andy Dalton? Let's say Jameis Winston gets hurt week 4, not playing well.
I got Dalton 25th. I got Winston 31st. So I think the team would do better with Dalton.
You got Winston at 31?
I got Winston at 31. I think he's terrible.
I got him at 20. Wow, that's a lot of flip-flop there.
I think he's absolutely horrendous.
That's a lot of flip-flop. Where do you have Zach Wilson? 25, you said?
Got him 25.
Okay, I have him at 17.
I put him one ahead of Daniel Jones only because he's going into his second year, so you got to give him a little leeway maybe. But you know what? He runs around and gets hurt too. So
Elijah Moore and Garrett Wilson.
He's already been doing it in the preseason.
Yeah, 2 to 4 weeks he's out with that meniscus injury. But if you look at it, though,
the Jets are going to be picking in the top 5 again.
The Jets, yeah. And Mekhi Becton's out for the year, and then obviously they did add, though, Garrett Wilson in the draft. And obviously have Elijah Moore, too. So they've got a solid receiving core there. But
does Garrett Wilson play left tackle? I don't think so.
No, he doesn't. They could use it, though. Imagine. They could use it. But you're not wrong, though. So, any other guys you want to highlight?
I don't think so. I mean, nobody of note.
And before we closed out, one guy, which I know we're talking Andy Dalton, back up for the Saints, my boy, Trevor Siemian, I think he'd be like 26, 27 if he got a chance. And you have James at 31, so if he was 27 on my list, that'd be pretty high, I guess. You're not a big Siemian guy, but he was all right last year, Siemian.
You're losing credibility. You're losing credibility talking about Trevor Siemian.
Here's the thing, though. I think if you were to go into that offense, I mean, Michael Thomas obviously isn't great, but he had 11 touchdowns, 3 picks last year, Trevor Siemian.
They have not done that much to retool that offense since
4 starts. 4 starts, though. 57% completion percentage, so that's not great. 1,100 passing yards in those 4 games with, if you look at it, 192 passing yards per game on average. That's not great. But that's because it says that's out of 6 games. It's not out of his 4 starts because he played in 6 games with 4 starts. But if you look at 11 touchdowns, 3 picks, and 4 starts with 6 games played, that's not bad. I think it'd be like 27. Siemian? I think it'd be 27. That's not a hot take because, 27, we already said.
Pretty bad. I just don't think he's... At 27, I have Mitch Trubisky. Yeah, okay.
I got Baker Mayfield at 27. Justin Fields. Yeah, I have Mitch at 29. But here's the thing, though. Like you already said, the last 8 guys, really. It's really just flip-flop. It's really just fail, your opinion on the guys. So I would have Trevor Siemian somewhere in there, 27, 28 maybe. I don't know. But
I mean, of my bottom batch of quarterbacks, I think Fields is the only guy who, even if he struggles, is still going to be, it's not really his fault. He's got a tough slate there for a second-year guy.
He does. But if you look at my bottom 9, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, my bottom 9 here, Trevor Lawrence, Mac Jones, both of those guys are my bottom 9, 24 and 25. But I think both of those guys, I wouldn't be surprised if they're 15 to 18 to 20 maybe. Who knows? I'd be more confident in Trevor Lawrence than Mac Jones this year, just because of Joe Judge. Matt Patricia don't really have a wide receiver 1 or a wide receiver 2, I guess even. They're all, wide receiver 2/3s. But that's just how I feel about that. But it's close.
I just don't think Belichick wants to ever lose games. So if these guys are really screwing the pooch, he's going to get in there and
he's going to whip them to shape.
do something.
He's going to whip them to shape, get them back in motion. Yeah, you never know. But it'll be interesting to see though what happens.
Call the plays.
He might have to be audible at the line of scrimmage. You need that freedom as a quarterback in the NFL.
Hey, Brady's pretty much the head coach down in Tampa Bay now, right?
And it worked out. Hey, it worked out. They won a Super Bowl even with Bruce Arians. Brady was still calling shots there, probably.
Probably.
Got Gronk there, obviously, and probably a big reason they got Antonio Brown because no one's probably going to sign him anyways. But
they got Julio.
Julio now, too.
I know he's old, but he doesn't even have to be a number 1 guy.
No,
he's a number 3 guy.
It could be a 3 or 4. Russell Gage, which I think he was a little banged up. Russell Gage, which I think he was hurt actually in the first preseason game. But let's say Russell Gage is there, healthy. Julio Jones probably is the 4th receiver, maybe 3rd or 4th. I think Gage is close with them.
Yeah, Gage is kind of like a slot guy, right?
Yeah, Gage he's decent, though. He's decent. He missed another practice, actually, today, so an update. But, I think Julio could be a 3/4. And that's...
And Godwin's out for a bit, right?
Godwin's out for a little bit, and then obviously they have Mike Evans, too, and lost Gronk. So, lost Gronk, lost Ali Moppet.
The O-line's a little banged up.
Lost Jensen, the starting center, lost the backup center, and then lost Moppet to retirement. So, lost 2 to injury. Jensen,
they got
the backup
Shaq
center.
Mason, though.
They got Shaq Mason? Yeah, I think that you guys traded him there.
Yeah.
I think we were talking about that.
So he knows.
You might have mentioned that in an episode before when you were on. But yeah.
He's a tank.
He's a big guy. So they lost Jensen to injury, lost the backup center to injury, and then Moppet retired. And then obviously now losing a couple other pieces around him. And Gronk obviously retiring. And who knows? I think they'll still have a good year. They got Brady too. So I'm not saying he's... And obviously a new head coach
That
now.
division's pretty bad.
Todd Bowles, new head coach. He's got a lot of change around him. But
Todd Bowles, Brady's boy.
A lot of change around him. But you're right. Yeah, I think they still have a good year. I got Brady at 2nd.
Can't be much more change than going to a brand new team. So
yeah, you're not wrong. Hey, anyways, though, is there anything you want to finish up with before we close this?
I don't know. I don't think so. I think we did well.
Hey, it's 1 hour and 32 minutes. I'm actually impressed, especially considering we went down every quarter. We even talked about every
Jones at 12. That's the big takeaway for everybody.
Jones at 12 for me was my biggest takeaway. Your biggest takeaway probably Trevor Lawrence at 14, maybe?
I guess so.
I think Lawrence at 14 is probably your biggest, and then mine was obviously having Daniel Jones at 12. That's probably the biggest hot take of all of them.
There seems to always be quarterbacks in year 2. Burrow went from wherever you thought you would have had him, probably in the 20s.
Yes, I had him probably 18
and nobody,
last year.
I think even if Trevor Lawrence and Joe Burrow in the same draft and Burrow had just beat him in the championship, that people would still take Trevor Lawrence over Burrow.
Probably, yeah.
He just profiles as a better prospect because he's younger, he's bigger.
Can't have an arm, 6'6",
and
has experience, highly touted.
He's
obviously
been the chosen one since he's,
put on the pads in 6th grade. Probably he's been the number 1 recruit since 6th grade, number 1 pick.
Until he reached the NFL, he hardly ever lost a game.
He didn't. He never lost in high school and really in college. Only lost those playoff games.
Until he was in the championship game of his sophomore year or something.
To LSU.
In college, yeah.
And then that third year they lost to. Who they lose to that third year? Was it Georgia?
Yeah, opening night. Maybe. No, that was last year.
Okay, yeah, they lost to Georgia last year, right?
No, they lost to Ohio State.
That's what it is. You're right.
In the playoff.
But last year they did lose with DJ though against Georgia, correct? Opening night.
They did terrible, yeah.
Clemson versus Georgia. I was thinking it was Georgia for some reason as a loss, but yeah.
Actually, wait. That was what, a 10-3 game or something?
Yeah, it was a 10-3 game. You were right, but yeah, DJ was a quarterback then. I messed up the seasons there, but yeah, last time he lost really was before the NFL was Ohio State in the playoffs, and then obviously and
then in Pee Wee's
into LSU, and lost that LSU team that was stacked, and then Pee Wee's like you said, but that LSU team was stacked. Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase, Joe Burrow, Clyde Edwards-Helaire,
Oh, yeah. I mean,
Ridiculous.
the number of first-round picks on that team was insane.
And then the secondary was elite, too.
And Joe Burrow was like a fifth-year graduate, and Lawrence is like 19.
You're right. You're right. They had an elite secondary, too, dude. It was nuts how good they were. But, hey, that's what it takes to win. You got to have a good team to beat Trevor Lawrence, right?
And there is some controversy in the game. T. Higgins touchdown that they called offensive pass interference, but
should have been a touchdown.
It was a touchdown. He caught the ball.
It should have been a touchdown. But, hey, like we said, though, it takes a lot to beat Trevor Lawrence, right? Took all those 5-star recruits and all those first-round picks and 4-star recruits.
I mean, they won a couple of games last year that were a surprise. I mean, that team could have been 1-17 there.
Yeah, horrible. I mean, look at their head coach was Urban Meyer, which was
head coach,
ridiculous.
brutal.
Ridiculous luck there. Ridiculous luck. But, hey, anything else you want to add before we close out?
No, that's it for me.
All right, we'll have you back on.
Looking forward to ranking the teams.
We're going to be ranking the teams, too, in another episode. But anyways, thank you guys so much for taking the time to listen to this. Thank you, Mike, the sports guru, Mike Hurley, for coming on. What an episode. Always a pleasure having this kid come on. As I said, this kid knows sports better than anyone I know. Football, baseball, basketball, hockey. You need a sports take? Call him. He's the guy to go to.
Even if I don't know, I'll give you a take.
He's the sports guru for a reason. But anyways, hope you guys enjoyed this. Thank you guys so much for taking the time to listen to this. Hope you guys have a good one. Thank you.